Hey everyone, GameHounds podcast. We're here, only 13 minutes late, which is actually on time for us. Hi, how are you? How's things? Nick and I are still prepping the show. So yeah, might as well catch you up with what's going on. Just as a reminder, next week we will not have a show, so we are dark because I'm going dark, literally, to a dark sky festival with me and my camera, and I'm going to take pictures of the sky for 4 days. So, with a rented camper van. Are you aware that you can rent camper vans?
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's like a couple of different ones that are like Airbnbs for people with travel trailers and camper vans and RVs. So it's like it's this concierge experience depending on how much you want to spend. And yeah, one of them is called Outdoorsy, and so I kind of sucks. I found one really good one that was really relatively cheap, but they're down in San Jose, which is, you know, it's not far as the crow flies or even far as traffic is concerned if you go in the middle of the night, but during the day, it's several hours to get down there, depending on how traffic is. And they're in San Jose, and they wouldn't. In order to pick it up, they made me to pick it up enough time to be able to load it. They and because I was bringing it back, like I'm leaving in the morning and I'm coming back in the evening, they made me get an extra day. So I was going to have to pick it up on Wednesday to leave on Thursday. And they said that they were only available for me to pick it up on Wednesdays between 5 and 7 p.m. And it's like, to get down there by 5, I have to leave work at 3 and get directly into the car and come home. And then it's going to be another couple of hours of me driving back home. And it's like, yeah, no. So I ended up getting another one that's closer to me, that's slightly more expensive and not as many bells and whistles. But yeah, it kind of sucks. I'm glad that they let me know before I could still cancel it and get my money back.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So who's in the chat room? Who we got? Who's here? Comments. Let's see. Anybody? I mean, I'm assuming AC Wraith is here. So I was talking to Nick. I am, first off, you might notice my hair is wet. It is been freaking raining. We had the hill. I'm on the bottom of a hill, not quite at the bottom, but very close to the bottom of a fairly large hill. My town is essentially one hill. There's like the city side, and then there's the ocean side. I'm on the city side about 3/4 of the way down, and a hill just up, like literally, I'm pointing at it right now, collapsed in the rain and washed down into everybody's front yards all the way down the rest of the hill. So we've been digging mud out of all of our gutters for the last day or so. Because, of course, the mud gets into the gutters start to overflow, then it overflows on the sidewalk, then it goes into your yard, then it goes into your basement. It's just been a real mess. So, I mean, we didn't have to be evacuated or anything. It's not like the hill is actually sliding down into your backyard. Like, there's an ocean side, brand new homes, all like $1.5 million, $2 million each. There's a giant crack in the hill right behind it that it's complete. It's in fact, I might be able to find some pictures of it. Yeah, it's a big fucking deal. So yeah, there's lawsuits everywhere right now. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see.
Are those lawsuits basically like, hey, we demand that you fix this?
It's you shouldn't have built these houses here. You didn't do the mitigation because they're all relatively new. They're less than 10 years old.
Okay.
And yeah, and like you didn't build these right. You didn't do the right mitigation to keep something like this from happening. You dig out the bottom of a hill, put a bunch of houses there, and then the hill starts to slide into the upper part of the hill slides into the backyard. Yeah. So let's see. Point Richmond. What's the name of that place? Brickyard Hill Slide. Let's see if I can find some images for you where you can literally see just a crack in the hill. Yeah. Looking for a really good demonstrative picture of how bad it is. So I'll pull this up so that you can see it. Come on. Here we go. All right. So yeah, this is what's going on in my, on the other side of where I live. It's that really doesn't do it justice, but when you scroll down, it's like this whole section above all of these houses. Like you can see, it's like this big section behind these houses. These all these houses are 1.7 to $2.5 million each. So you can see there's a ton of houses right there, and you can see like it's sliding. It's definitely coming down into the backs. You can see it just in the backs of these, in the fronts of these houses. So yeah, it's a thing happening right now, and it's all bad. So all that stuff that you're seeing, in the news about California and the rains is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. There are places that are whole towns that are being evacuated because they're underwater right now. I mean, I hate to say we need it. We could use a little break right now. Let's just say we could use a dry out. Hey, AC Wraith, we got AC Wraith in the chat room. Oh, my brother is texting me. What does he want? In other news, I'm waiting for Chunderbox to show up because I have an offer for Chunderbox and for any of you. Yeah, thank you very much for the link. Yep, not me. I'm on Bedrock. I'm good. It's just the problem is that everything up there is starting to slide into my front yard. Thank you for the reminder of the Patreon. Yeah, help a gal try to like dry out her front yard by taking the burden off of all of the cost of this podcast. $1 a month is all we ask to help support GameHounds. And if you are watching, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching YouTube. If you are watching on Twitch, please subscribe to us on Twitch. And even better, if you are an Amazon Prime member, you get one free sponsorship of a Twitch channel. If you are not already using that for something that you like better, we would appreciate if you would sponsor us on Twitch. It doesn't cost you anything if you are an Amazon Prime member and you use your free one, but it gives a little, just a little bit of money. A little drops in the ocean make giant floods in California.
But landslides.
Let's see. Ina says the weather in Bali in October is warm to hot and still very sunny, averaging 9 hours of sunshine per day. Average daily maximum is 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Average daily minimum is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity builds as October is the last month of the April-October dry season. The reason why, and I'm waiting for Chunderbox to come in, I found the cheapest flights I have ever seen to Bali from California. $893 round trip, which sounds like a lot, but normally they're about $1,400 to $1,800 round trip.
Yeah, that's like 50 to 60%.
Crazy cheap. So I'm going to be in Bali in October. Anybody wants to come with me, you can come. I'm not paying for you. It's your trip, but we can meet up in Bali. We'll have dinner. I'm texting back to my brother. All right. So, I'm ready for the show. You ready for
Yeah,
the show?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's hit this. I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what I need? I need water. Entertain people. Talk amongst yourselves. I need a glass of
Uh-oh.
water. I'll be right back.
Hey, how's the redacted holding up under the snow? Oh, you'll have to ask her when she comes back. We thankfully have not been having any rain issues other than uh like driving back from the movies at night while the sky just floods. Uh but other than like driving 40 miles on the highway, it's been that was a couple days ago, and it has not been that bad since. So we had like one really bad rainstorm on Thursday, and then since then it's been, yeah, just drizzling on and off, but kind of constantly. So yeah. Still, this is like the wettest the California has been in recent memory. I can't remember it raining so much in the past like 10 years. I've always wished it would rain more, but it never does. So I'm quite surprised and kind of happy.
What?
Like, we need the rain.
Oh, we definitely need the rain. Well, our snowpack is before this storm was at 190% of normal. It could stop raining now. We'd be fine. It could stop now. We'd appreciate it if it would. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to get some water and check my bread. I am making bread in the kitchen. It's proofing right now. I have a
I
really
don't
good
know.
recipe for night before bread. You make it the night before. It's no need. You just mix it all up, stick it in a bowl, let it sit overnight, put it into a Dutch oven, stick it in the oven. You've got bread. Because I made cream and mushroom soup from home, from like Julia Child's cream and mushroom soup recipe yesterday. I ate
Really?
enough of it to make myself a little ill. Uh, how is the redacted holding up in the snow?
You know, that thing that's not falling over.
I forget what we call
That thing
redacted.
on your roof that's perfectly stable.
Oh, we have no snow. No snow, just rain. Yes. It's my chimney is rock solid. I have every confidence that it's going to stay exactly where it is. It is I have a very well built house, perfectly maintained. Uh, AC Ray says I was waiting for Steam sales on 2 expensive games with my late Christmas credit, but I've nickeled and dimed myself into only being able to afford one. Which ones? What are you trying to get?
He
Oh, he
says he
says
got a Cop Killer 20XX from the developer of A Robot Named Fight.
that's one of your
Uh,
favorite games.
yeah, for a mere $2. And then Void Destroyer 2, which was high on his wish list. He had mentioned Void Destroyer 2 in Discord and
Mhm.
said that people are calling it the Bannerlord in space.
Ooh.
He was like, oh, it might be a hidden gem of an Edie game.
Yeah. Though you got it. Have you played it? Because that sounds awesome. Void Destroyer 2.
So speaking of Bannerlord, it's on Game Pass now. I've not played it,
Mhm.
but I've downloaded it to the Xbox. And once I get through some of these other games that came out recently, that's next on the list.
I can't see Bannerlord being very good for Xbox. It just
We will see.
seems
We will see.
it seems like it's gonna be kind of nerfed, by comparison. Why wouldn't you just I mean, isn't it on Game Pass for PC?
Yes,
Why wouldn't you play it on PC?
because that involves a lot more setup than just playing it on the console.
What setup? It's a mouse and keyboard game.
Yeah, I take out the laptop, plug it in somewhere, and sit down. I can't just sit on the couch with my legs up on the coffee table.
You should download it anyway. You should download it no matter what onto the PC
I will
just to
do it
have it.
if the controls are so bad on Xbox, then I will. But
So
It will take
Psychonauts
a lot to
2,
convince me.
Kingdom of Amalur, the Re-Reckoning Fate edition. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I have what was that? Crown of Solastra I have that I've been meaning to play.
Yeah, magistrate.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, Solasta,
Yeah,
Crown of
so
the
like Crown of
Magistrate,
Sol
or something like
right,
that.
right. I've been meaning to play that, and I got it dirt cheap, and been meaning to do it and haven't done it. AC Ray says I got 66% discount during the winter Steam sale, and I'm guessing it will happen again, probably. Do we still have that? Do you still have that calendar for the Steam
Oh yeah.
sales? All right, let's do this. All righty, dighty. Going up to our brand and starting the show, turning off the loop so we don't hear all the music all the time, and go.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 672. We are recording on Sunday, March 12th, 2023. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DeNicola. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm doing
Yep.
well.
We were
I've recovered from spilling coffee all over the place.
we would have been on time for the turning on the actual podcast
Yeah,
if
we
Nick
would have been
hadn't
like
turned
15
off.
minutes earlier.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Right. But we turned on 12 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have actually been fine and right on time for the first time in a really long time. But Nick smelled coffee.
Funny enough, no cats were at fault. It was just a pure, I put it right in front of me and then swept my hand across and knocked it over.
Okay. So
Pure-
you were the cat.
Oh yeah, pure human error.
We were talking about before the show how Nick and I are drowning. I am recording and my hair is you can't see it if you're listening on the podcast, but if you're viewing, you could see my hair is wet. And there's a reason for that. I am soaked to the skin. No, it's the skin. I changed my clothes after walking the dogs. But yeah, it's freaking raining here.
And see, it hasn't been that bad for me. There was a Thursday was
Yeah, because
really,
you're
really
on the
bad.
4th floor.
Thursday was bad. Every other time, it's like, oh, it's raining, but you know what? We don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
We don't have any dogs to take out.
Right.
We're just gonna sit inside. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, it's raining a lot. Yeah, we should order the food to come to us so that we
should
have to go to it.
should order out. Yeah, that's pretty much. Now
Make some milk.
I didn't go into work Thursday. Let's see, Thursday or Friday. So I didn't do Thursday because I was hungover because we had a company party, uh, and it was awesome. But a Thursday I stayed home because I was really hungover and it was not great weather. And then Friday definitely stayed home because it was just fish everywhere, swimming a fish could swim down my front
Oh,
street. Yeah,
jeez.
it was really raining hard where I am. So, how are you? How's things? Hope you're well. We got Vice. Ayo, we got Vice in the chat room. We've got AC Wraith in the chat room. AC Ray says we could have seen the spill. That would have been fun. Yeah, no, it was. I'm sorry I didn't start up. Yeah, I don't know why your microphone wasn't working or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, I don't know. But
yeah,
whatever.
it was. Nick was just a hot mess, so we got it taken care of. So, what have you been playing? I have been playing the same thing I've been playing before. In fact, I was supposed to meet up, air quote meet up with Thunderbox last Sunday night after the show, and he was not able to connect with me, and I don't know why, because he's like, "Oh, maybe it's because it's crossplay," and I'm like, "No, you can crossplay
Yeah,
on
that
that
should
game.
work.
It should
On
work.
Battlefield.
Battlefield, you can crossplay." So I'm gonna try again. I'm not gonna lie. I played a little bit, nobody showed up, and then I just watched K-dramas the rest of the night. Tonight, I'm definitely gonna be playing Battlefield. If you would like to connect with me, Gamer Edie, GamerEdie, Gamer Edie on Xbox, and it is crossplay, so you should be able to find me. We'll locate each other and we will play. And it's gonna be all AI, so you will feel like a god. Because the AI is good, but it ain't great. It's not people.
Yes.
But I've been playing an awful lot of that this week. Still. It's good. They got new maps. Totally happy with the new maps. Just I can't believe how much I'm enjoying that game so
I feel
much.
like you're experiencing the Battlefield that like me and Chris have experienced for the past several
Years.
years.
Yeah, years. Yeah, absolutely. And it's all because the pressure has been taken off of me sucking against other people. And the fact that I can, earn XP and get the good guns and the good scopes and the good everything else so that I don't have to be permanently disabled by my inability to actually, play
Mhm.
well. So I can enjoy it with little or no, with without feeling like I suck. Because Battlefield can be very humbling to people that are not high level players. I'm not. I just like to play games, and I really do like this game. It's kind of miserable when you're just doing nothing but spawning and dying and spawning and dying and spawning and dying. So, what you playing?
Well, I guess first of all, speaking of Battlefield, I feel
Mhm.
the need to bring this game up because I just like saw a video of it or like read a preview of it without knowing anything about it called The Finals, which is being developed by ex Battlefield developers and is promising to have destruction level to the degree that Battlefield Bad Company did back in the day. Like the ability to
Really?
bring down buildings and stuff. And so what it is kind of battle royale. It's like 3v3v3 teams. So
Mhm.
imagine Apex Legends, but only 3 teams, or like only 4 teams. So it's like 3v3v3v3, and it's like everyone's trying to get suitcases of money, right? It's almost like a game show. So it's like, oh, you're running to get a suitcase of money. Then once you have that money, you have to run to an extraction point. But along the way, you're running from other players and blowing things up. Oh, is there a wall in your way? Just blow a hole through the wall and go through it. And just for as fun, I like 2042, but it continues the trend of having really, really sad destruction features.
It does.
Like nothing has ever compared to um Battlefield Bad Company. Like look at it, he just took down a bridge.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool. Like why I just don't understand, like with all the power of new consoles, all the stuff, no one has made like a destructible game like
And
this.
2042, that was its claim to fame. It was going to be highly destructible, and it really isn't.
Yeah. So, yeah, speaking of Battlefield, I saw this. It sparked Battlefield nostalgia, and so I hope it's good.
When do we know anything about when it's coming out?
I don't think so. This was just like an early preview.
This does look kind of cool, but it also looks a little bit Apexy slash.
Yes, it is kind of Apexy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but if I wanted to play Apex, I would play Apex.
Yeah,
These
it
are
just
these are
says
exactly the kind of games that I'm terrible at and that are
release just
humbling.
says coming soon.
Yeah,
Although apparently it will be free to play once it's released. So
so it's live
we
service.
we but we'll be able to check it out without having to like pay $60.
That's how what happened with Apex. I got to try it out and decide that I didn't like it. It was terrible
Yeah.
at it, and and then I never played it again.
Which, hey, no big loss.
Yeah, but still, I would rather have it been something that was a little more, like old people friendly.
Anyways, so yeah, the games I've been playing.
Mhm.
Where to start? I guess I'll start with Tales of Iron, the mouse Souls-like game.
Right.
I finished that,
Mhm.
platinumed the game, beat every side boss and every
Wow,
past
you
mission.
you really like this game.
I did. The final boss, I got to the final boss like at 1, 2 in the morning, and it's like, okay, let me try to beat him. And he was kicking my ass. And I was getting so frustrated with that final boss that I'm just like, I just want to beat him, but and then go to bed. I just want to beat him. I just want to beat him. And I couldn't do it. And it was so frustrating. So I was like, okay. Next day I came back and I'm like, I'm just gonna give this a couple more tries. And if I can't do it, fuck this game. And I
Did
beat
it
it
the
the
first
first
one.
try.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just need to go to bed and come back.
And a lot of it was like, because I see in retrospect, like I see the arc, all the details, right? Hindsight is 2020. I see everything. The boss had like multiple phases. The final phase is what I was having trouble with. Final phase just continually messed me up
Mhm.
because I kept dodging when he would do this special move. I kept dodging away from him, and then I kept getting hit by his like various special moves, and it was so frustrating until I realized, oh, if I dodge towards him, then I can avoid pretty much everything.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what happened. Beat him first try by dodging forward instead of backwards, and suddenly the fight became a piece of cake.
Right.
And
Well,
to
it's
to
because you were tired, it was late, you probably just couldn't miss what was going on.
yeah, but it's like it's funny to look back at something and realize like, oh, I felt that way, but I can see now how blindly wrong I was. Just
Mhm.
how completely ignorant I was. And it's like, damn, past Nick, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Trying to see if I can find this final boss fight.
Is this up to the end? Wait, yeah. Click all the way at the end. Yeah, he's at the boss. He's just refilling and saving
This
this
guy.
dude. This dude. And like this phase, this was the easy phase.
So, you liked it, huh?
Yeah.
Did you pay for it or was it Game Pass?
I paid for it, yeah. I got it on sale and it was great. If they come out with a sequel, which they're rumored to, that's a day one purchase. What's cool about it too is that like it's this fantasy story about, medieval mice versus frogs, but then it kind of, like I said, it doesn't take itself super seriously, and the story goes in some wacky directions where you get like the spoiler alert for anyone that cares. Uh you go underground and find a city of steampunk moles. And so all of a sudden, the genre changes into like this sci-fi steampunk for like a couple hours as you uh explore the city of moles and fight other underground steampunky things. So yeah, a cool game. Fun sense of humor. It's like very wink and naughty.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, you finished it, platinumed it, did everything,
Yes.
ate its lunch,
Yeah.
drank its milkshake.
Um
Good.
and then speaking of games I continued playing, Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Mhm.
The Souls-like from Team Ninja. I I like that one less than I did last week.
Really?
I feel like I'm starting to encounter a couple like more frustrating uh um contradictions within its mechanics. So previously I thought that the way the exploration and leveling system works for each level is when you go into a level, there are these flags around, and every time you plant a flag at a specific location,
Right.
your level goes up. And so if you plant enough flags, you get your level to 20. And the final boss is like level 19. So it's like, hey, cool. I'm slightly over leveled for the boss. So there is no grinding for levels. It's just exploration. That's cool and all until you get to the final boss. And the bosses have like a level of difficulty spike that, like, when you go through several levels and you fight several bosses,
Mhm.
and over time you start realizing, geez, like the rest of this game is not so hard, but then these bosses just regularly are vicious to a degree that you just don't get anywhere else. So you want to have like every advantage against them.
Right.
And you get to a boss and it's level 20 and I'm level 18, and I see, oh, I've missed 2 flags. Well, I could spend an unknown amount of time going back through the entire level looking for something that I don't know where it is, right? I don't know where these flags are throughout the level. They're hidden. So
Mhm.
I could just explore the level for an unknown amount of time, or I could just try to keep banging my head against the boss to try to beat it. And that's really frustrating because these levels are big.
Right.
And at the point where you're
It penalizes you for missing a flag.
Yes, and the idea of going back and finding one is daunting because the levels are big, because, there's so much to do that it's like, well, I'm gonna go through, fight through every enemy, maybe find the flag, and then fight through all those enemies on my way back to the boss. Like, I may as well just start the level over again.
Right.
Uh, what also kind of annoyed me is, uh, the game, as far as I can tell, doesn't have animation canceling. And so what that means is when you attack, you're going to go through the
Mm.
attack animation all the time. So if I hit attack and then block, he's going to go through the attack animation and then block. He's not
Right.
going to interrupt the attack animation with the block. That's perfectly fine in a game like Dark Souls or most of the From games where they're a little slower paced, so that, they're meant to be deliberate. You're kind of meant to watch the boss, wait for an opening, and then attack. And when you commit to an attack, like, that's a thing to do. I'm committing to this attack. In a super fast-paced game like this, that's a little more frustrating because, uh, you know, I'm going to attack, the enemy's going to attack, and I want to be able to block really quickly, because what ends up happening is the enemy stops, I have an opening, but I hesitate because I know if I start an attack, I can't stop it.
Right.
So I'm just going to wait. And what should be a really aggressive, offensively focused game turns into a real defensive, like, well, I'm just going to wait until they do their thing. And it just seems kind of dumb.
Right. That
Um,
you can't actually create the pace of the fight
yes. Yeah.
because you can't cancel an attack. So you've always got to be more prepared for defense than you are for actually, determining what happens when.
Yeah.
You're reactive and instead of being proactive.
Yeah. And finally, the way the like narrative layer, the way that works with the mechanics layer in terms of leveling up really
Mhm.
annoyed me because uh spirit is a really important resource in the game. You can increase the amount of spirit you get from attacks by investing in fire. So basically, when you get enough experience to level up, you can level up like one of your elemental affinities, like
Mhm.
wood, fire, metal, water, and something else,
Earth.
earth. Um, each of those has a different ability associated with it. Fire specifically increases the amount of spirit you gain from attacking. So I thought, you know what? I want to get a really fast weapon and then put a lot of points into fire,
Right. That makes
right?
sense.
That makes sense.
Right.
All of the really fast weapons don't scale with fire. All of the really fast weapons scale with water, which has the ability of making it harder for enemies to detect you.
Mm.
And like on a narrative level, I get it because like, hey, all these short dual swords, like you flow like water when you fight. But mechanically, it's like, well, I'm gonna pump all these points into water to make the weapon stronger, but what that actually means for in the fight is not really helping me.
Right.
And it just it felt frustrating that the game seems to be encouraging me to put points into different things that don't all help. Like it's hard to have a build when the game is kind of contradictory in what it's asking you to do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, all these things together made it so it's like, do I really want to keep going? Like, oh, this boss is tough, but do I actually want to invest the time into playing it and fighting him? Because if I beat this boss, I'm just gonna go into another level, and the levels are fun,
Mhm.
but then I have to like find all the flags, and then it started to like feel slow.
Grindy.
Yeah. For a game that is designed to not have a grind,
Mhm.
ironically, felt kind of grindy.
Right.
And so yeah, I don't know if I'll go back to it. It's a neat game, but I feel like there's just a lot of little things, like Death by a Thousand Cuts, right?
Mhm. Right.
Really, really cool bones, but just a lot of little things about it that bug me until I'm like, I'd rather play something else.
Yep. All right. So, next game.
This is a VR game. I finally played Horizon Call of the Mountain, the
Okay.
pack-in game that came with the PSVR.
Mhm.
It's really cool.
Okay.
Funny enough, I only played it up until the title card came, which is like 30, 40 minutes. But it's a really neat just exploration of all the different capabilities of the VR headset. There's a lot of climbing involved. It's kind of Uncharted in that way. And so it's simple. Like you just grab something with your hands and climb up. But what's funny is I found myself like putting my hand up and grabbing onto something and like holding my hands in the air like this as I maneuver through. You don't have to do that, right? Your character is weightless. So I could like hold things at waist level and shimmy across, like climb a ladder at waist level in a way that's physically impossible, but it just felt wrong. So instead,
Mhm.
I'm like holding everything above my head like I'm actually climbing just because it feels better.
Right.
Um, Shooting an arrow with it is really cool. Like you have to hold the arrow out with your left hand, and then with the right, you reach back, get an arrow, knock it onto the bow, and then pull back. So you're constantly like,
Really? That's
yeah,
kind of cool.
like grab the arrow, pull it back, shoot. Grab the arrow, pull it back, shoot. Um, the way combat works, when you get into combat mode, it's actually really neat because normally the game is pretty like it's linear, but it's I guess it is pretty linear in a way that kind of an Uncharted level is. But you have free movement, meaning that, hey, I got the control stick. If I go forward, backwards, side to side, like it's
Right.
dual joystick movement, basically. But when you get into a fight, that goes away. And basically, you lock onto an enemy. And it kind of becomes like a Souls like combat where the enemy is going to do their thing and then attack, and I can dodge side to side. And so it becomes this really nice balance of I'm not like running around in this VR thing worried about movement while fighting. It's kind of takes place on a 2D plane where, hey, this enemy's going to attack. I'm going to do my bows to try to shoot it in its big old eye. And when it attacks, I'm going to flick the control stick to dodge to the left or right. It's simplified in a way that's really nice.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's a neat proof of concept.
It
Like
just looks awesome too.
it does. And it's neat to see like this level of big budget applied to a VR game, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this works. Like when you have I don't know if the budget is worth it, but like when you can make really nice photorealistic things using the PSVR. I
Mhm.
mean, it's the PlayStation 5 essentially. It's also what's really funny, and this is just stupid. One of the like fun, stupid things about VR. So it's got like finger tracking, the controllers,
Mhm.
which seems to work okay. So like when I'm holding the controller, if my thumb is off of the control stick, then the game registers that as like a type of hand movement.
Mhm.
So you could like make a peace sign, you can make a thumbs up, but uh, since it's tracking your hand movement within this 3D world, when there are people in front of you talking and you reach toward them, they react to your hand.
No, that's awesome.
So it's
And they're like,
"Ooh."
"Ah."
When you get close, their eyes will look at your hand and they'll lean back. So it's like, "Oh, we want you to go investigate these mechanical dinosaurs on the mountain. It's very important that you do this. Um, you, we've lost 3 soldiers already, and you seem to be capable. So we want you." And
So they just continue with the dialogue, but they're just like, avoiding your hand.
yes,
That's awesome.
it's hilarious. It's a really nice, goofy touch.
Yeah. So how is this? How long is this game? Is this,
I've
like a
heard that it's
full
like a
length game?
solid 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you don't really 8 hours is considered a very short game by typical game standards. But you've said before that when playing VR, you can't really play marathon sessions like you're used to with just controllers.
Yes. So I imagine like 8 hours is for a VR game feels like a really solid like epic adventure,
Mhm.
which is good because like when you have most of those games that are like 30 hours, a lot of those 30 hours is traveling, right? It's an open world game that involves a lot of walking from place to place.
Mhm.
Um and this is just more of a roller coaster ride, right? Like I said, it's linear, and so it's a lot of here's a puzzle obstacle, here's a platforming obstacle, here's a combat obstacle, and just kind of throws one at you after another. So you're kind of always engaged in doing something instead of just,
And it's
hey,
never like repetitive in that way.
yeah, it's like "Hey, I'm gonna put 100 hours into Skyrim, but 60 of those hours is me walking from place to place
Right.
and like getting into trouble."
Right. And being attacked by like rats and crabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks kind of badass. So when you say proof of concept, it's definitely proof of the concept that this is kind of cool and I want this.
Yeah.
Because this is the
It's
first thing I've seen that makes me go, man, I'd really like to play this.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Well,
totally would like to play this, but I'm
come over sometime.
not $600 worth of playing it.
Fair.
That or a trip
Entirely
to
fair.
Bali? I'm trying to pick the trip to Bali.
um, yeah, very neat.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you played this week?
I was trying to think. I put a banner up. What did I play?
AC Wraith wants to know, do they react to being flipped off?
You unfortunately can't make the hand movement of flipping off.
Oh, why not? That just seems like an oversight.
I'm sure some game will put that in if they haven't already.
We almost have sun. Like it's bright enough to almost have sun right now. This is
Oh.
like the first time in 4 days I've seen anything remotely close to being sun. So, nothing else?
No, I can't believe I forgot. Atomic Heart.
Oh, okay.
This is the other like big AAA game that came out at the end of February. No, beginning of March. Like it was Atomic Heart, Wolong, and Bannerlord were like the 3 big games that came to Game Pass within a span of like a week or 2.
Mhm.
This was the game that previously was really dark, and I couldn't play it during the day because of the glare on the TV.
Oh, right. You'd mentioned that last week.
I went back to it. This game is pretty cool.
Mhm.
This is basically the Russian BioShock. And there's been enough controversy about like the game actually being developed by Russian developers. in a time when Russia is the aggressor in a really shitty war.
Yeah.
And it put the developers in a really hard spot of like, we can't say we're like pro war, but we also can't say we're against the war. So they put out a statement that was like, we'd like peace. We are pro peace.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I get this. And like,
You can't say what you want to say. Don't know which one of those you want to say, but we know that's why you can't say whatever you
yes.
actually
And
think.
so I understand people's like hesitancy to buy the game because they don't want to give financial support to Russia. And there's a whole like corkboard conspiracy where you can connect like a Russian it's not a conspiracy, but like that type of corkboard connections of this like Russian oil magnate started a game development, not studio, but like publisher, and that publisher through another subsidiary helped fund this game. And it's like, you go down the line. But all that aside, I think the game is pretty cool. It's a lot like BioShock in that it takes place in this alternate history where Russia developed these super robotics and became like this huge superpower. And at the unveiling of their newest big robotic invention, a lot of the robots in their their central hub robotic city went haywire and started killing people and attacking people, as robots all want to do.
Right. Always end up doing in every story.
And so you are a government agent that gets sent into this, utopian robotic city to figure out what went wrong. And it plays a lot like BioShock, where you have this like special robotic glove that allows you to have like elemental attacks. You can shoot frost out of it, you can shoot electricity out of it. You can't do fire, but I think you can get fire in other ways. You can add elemental components to your weapons. It's got a heavy melee focus, which I actually really like because ammo is fairly scarce and you have to craft a bunch of it. So you run around with an axe a lot, and the melee combat feels really good. The way you swing with the axe, the way it connects with people, the way enemies usually telegraph this big dangerous attack and how you can dodge the side feels really good. Even when you're up against a lot of enemies, it feels like the game gives you the tools to combat those. Like if I have 3 guys running towards me, I can shock one to stun him, use freeze on another to freeze them, and then just go in with my axe and wail on them until I take out 1 or 2, and then it suddenly becomes an easier fight. The world is pretty interesting so far, just this first of all, like
it really does look very BioShocky.
The aesthetics
very
of the world
BioShocky.
are
Very
really
Art Nouveau kind of, industrial nuclear age, post-nuclear age,
But what's neat is it's a distinctly Russian Art Nouveau. And so that lends everything just this really, really unique
I should
look.
say Beaux-Arts. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, in a way that I deeply appreciate because it's wacky and weird in a way that a lot of games feel like they aren't. BioShock took itself very seriously. This is a game, the machine that you use to upgrade your equipment, it's shaped like a refrigerator and it's voiced by an AI that is a very, very horny dominatrix woman. And so every time you go to this machine to upgrade, the fridge is like, yeah, stick your axe in me. Get rid of that glove and just be with me. And the main character is like, God, I fucking hate this horny refrigerator. Why do I have to do this? Like, shut up, fridge. I don't want you. You're a robot. So it's funny how it doesn't take itself seriously at all. I don't know how good the story is. Like, BioShock famously is pretty well written. The one downside is the main character in this game, for being such a Russian game,
Mhm.
is like the most dipshit cowboy American dick ever written. He's just like,
Really?
oh, I don't want to do this. This is dumb. Robots are dumb. But at the same time, he's a government agent who has very suspiciously can't remember much of his life past 2 years ago because of an accident. So, that's clearly not going to come back into the story in any
No,
way.
clearly.
But he's like, hey, this government official like took me in after my accident, and he's like a father to me, and he created all these robots, and I deeply respect him and everything that he made. But at the same time, every time some robot thing happens, he's like, fucking robots, this place sucks, this whole thing is stupid, why do I have to be here? I don't want to be here. It's like, oh my god, dude, you're such a dipshit. Just everything about you're just a dick.
That's
But
funny that they would make that, and that's the character you play. That's the protagonist.
yes, the protagonist. So yeah,
Interesting.
the protagonist is very unlikable. But everything else about the game is really interesting. The world is interesting, the enemies, the upgrades, just
It's a really
exploring this
beautiful
world.
looking game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it looks really good. It's really impressive how well, like how big budget it looks.
Yeah. And
Oh,
yeah,
Bitters says no, he's American, not Dick. Like
like that's just
he,
typical Amerikansky. Yeah, no,
I mean,
we're
he
not
can be
dicks.
both.
Yeah.
But I did mention you have to craft ammo. The way they handle resource gathering is really neat because you have that magic glove.
Mhm.
You just like hold the bumper button and you point it at a cupboard and you automatically like suck all the things out of that cupboard.
Right.
So when you walk into an office room, it's just like hold the button and like spin around in circles and you're like, and you gather all the resources in the room
Vacuuming it up like like
like a vacuum.
sludge, like a
Yeah. And it's nice to not have to like, okay, I'm gonna go open this cupboard, take some stuff, open this cupboard, take some stuff, open this drawer, take some stuff. It's like,
right.
not just
And you don't miss anything that way. That was
yeah.
one of the more frustrating things about those kind of gathering missions is that, oh, if only I'd have opened up that one cabinet that had extra ammo in it.
Mhm.
That's
So
kind of nice.
yeah, I'm enjoying my time with this. This is a cool, surprisingly goofy, kind of like it's not a 10 out of 10, but
Mhm.
it's like a really good version of BioShock, like a really good Russian version of BioShock that you would not expect to get anywhere else.
Cool. All right. Anything else?
That would be it
All
finally.
right. Cool. Well then, I got nothing else. And yes, again, if you want to play Battlefield 2042 AI mode, and maybe if we get a full group of 4, we'll go actually play against human beings. Gamer Edie on Xbox. You can share play with me on PC tonight. Probably. Let's see. It is 3:00 now. We should be done probably like 6:00 Pacific time, so you can do the calculations. And I'm going to be probably playing until about 9ish or so, because it is daylight saving time here in California and the United States, which sucks. It is the spring forward day, so I slept my normal amount of time, went to bed at my normal time, slept my normal amount of time, and woke up at like 10:30 this morning, which is way late. So I have to be ready to go to bed an hour earlier than I'm used to because I
Yeah,
have to be
I
there
had a
tomorrow.
moment where I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's only 2. Wait, it's 3?
3.
Wait, what? What?
Mm-hmm. There is no 2:00 on this day. 2:00
Mhm.
doesn't exist. Goes it goes 1:59, 3 a.m.
Well, what's funny too is the stove clock doesn't update. right?
Right.
It's not
I
automatic.
had to do that this morning.
So last night, the stove is like the easiest way to find time. So last night, like I'm playing games and I'm watching TV, and I look at the stove and I'm like, oh yeah, it's 1:30. Okay. Oh, I look at my phone, and it's like, oh, it's 1:30. Okay. And then I look at the stove and I'm like, oh yeah, it's 2. Okay. And I keep like it's like I got an hour before I should go to bed, and I'm da 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 da. And I look at my phone. It's 4 o'clock. What the fuck? What? Why?
Yeah. I tried to go to bed a little early last night because of this reason, and I ended up going to bed at I realized what time it was at 12:30, and then went to bed about 1, and yeah, so of course I was actually going to bed at 2 by daylight savings time purposes. So
Mm,
yeah, this day sucks. I told you like my wedding story about this day.
mm-mm.
Um, so Kevin and I decided to get married. We went. He didn't. Asked him, "What do you care about?" He goes, "I care about the cake. I care about the venue. I care about the colors." I'm like, "All right, everything else I'm just gonna take care of." It's like, cool. So we went looking for venues, and we finally found the venue. Like when you find the right place, you found the right place, and we wanted to get married the next year. So we were asking about, hey, springtime, what openings do you have for a Saturday? And they were like, we have one Saturday open in early April. I'm like, wow, cool. We'll take it. It was the spring forward Saturday before Sunday.
Oh no.
And it is a venue that if you had if you had a Saturday afternoon wedding, you had to rent the whole place and stay the night because it had rooms and stuff. But you had to be out by 9 a.m. the next day because for the Sunday wedding, which means that we're we didn't realize that until we were deep in the planning stage. And it's like, oh shit, we have to be out by 9. I'm thinking, okay, out by 9. We have to wake up like 7:30 after getting married, clean up, and then load up the car and get out. No, we had to be up by 6:30 because of daylight saving. When I woke up, I was still drunk. I was still because we didn't drink when you get married, you don't start drinking until after the wedding because you need to be dirt cold sober because there's too much to do. So we didn't start drinking until that night after everybody, left and it was just the wedding party there. And then, of course, wake up and just still liquored and trying to get the hell out of the place by 9 a.m. or else we'd be in big trouble. So yeah, whenever I think of daylight saving time in the spring forward day, it's always that horrible, horrible morning after we got married. Oh, it was horrible.
That
Kevin and I looked at each other and it's like we're supposed to be driving to Tahoe for like our quote unquote honeymoon. And it was like, I can't drive. Can you drive? No, I can't drive. So we went to a Denny's. We drove when we probably shouldn't have to a Denny's and we ate breakfast at Denny's and drank coffee until we sobered up enough to continue to go to Tahoe. Yeah, I was so drunk, so uncomfortable, so sick that morning. So, is daylight saving a Jedi mind trick? It sort of is. And incidentally,
that's a good way to put it.
4 years ago, was it 4 years or 6 years ago? I think it was 6 years ago, but it might have been 4. We actually had this on the ballot and we voted overwhelmingly as a state to get rid of this BS, and it
Yeah.
still hasn't happened.
Okay, yeah, because I remember reading about that last year specifically. That like, I thought
Didn't we
last year
vote
was
this out?
the last fallback.
It was an advisory vote. Everyone in the state was like, "We want this to end." And I don't know what freaking cabal, what Illuminati secret society is keeping this going in California, but nobody wants it. Nobody wants it.
No, you
Anybody
know
who
who it
does
is?
is wrong.
I know who it is.
Who?
It's the farmers.
The farmers wish.
No,
Farmers wish.
no, because one of Rachel's friend's boyfriend runs a farm and like runs a pretty
Okay.
big farm.
Okay.
And Rachel's friend, like his girlfriend, was telling me like, no, we're talking about daylight savings time because this thing came up after the vote of like, oh yeah, daylight savings time sucks. She's like, no, he loves it because that's the only way that he like sees daylight. If he can like gets off of work before night falls. Otherwise, he's like, I wake up before dawn, and then I leave work after sunset. So it's like I never have any free time during the day. Daylight savings is for him. It's for the farmers.
The thing is that he would get daylight during the day. He just has to wait a little bit longer in the year. The same way that I have to wait now a little bit longer in the year to not wake up in the dark. This screws up my life because I have to get up, walk my dogs, get home, get showered, get changed, get makeup, get in the car, go to the ferry, get to work. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. Earlier, like in February, I was going out in the dark to take my dogs to the park to exercise them. And I was just thinking to myself, "Oh, thank God. Thank God I'm not having to wake up in like pitch black cold to go do my dogs in the morning. Now I'm back going to pitch black cold and I have to wait till later in the year." So it's not that he never would, he just wouldn't see it this early
No,
in the
wait.
year.
I thought we lost an hour, right? That means we went forward. So you would be
You're
waking
right.
up at the equivalent of 7:30 now.
No, I'm waking up at the equivalent. If I'm waking up at 6:30, I'm actually what it would be 6:30, I'm actually waking up at 7:30. If I need to wake up at 6:30, I need to be if I wanna wake up 6:30 on Monday, I have to wake up the equivalent of 5:30 of what it was last week.
Yeah, but that means now if you wake up at 6:30,
It's dark.
I
Right?
thought I no, because if you wake up at what the clock says is 6:30, then what the earth says would be 7:30. So it should be brighter out.
Am I wrong? Hold
See,
on a second.
this
Let
is
me
the problem with
Oh,
daylight
this
savings.
is why we hate daylight savings is for at least a week or 2, we have no fucking idea what our lives are like.
Okay, wait, AC Ray says it's an hour earlier, so it's darker.
Yes.
But no, because
Okay,
it went to 2. At 2:00, it jumped ahead to 3.
right.
So we are an hour ahead of what it should be, which means if you wake up at 6:30 by the clock.
It's 7:30. Okay, so it's the
No,
other
no,
wait, hold on,
no.
wait.
Wait, you're right. We skipped ahead.
Right.
So if it's 6:30 by the clock, it's actually 5:30.
5:30 by what it was
Okay, you're
last
right. My
week.
bad. My
Yes,
bad.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm wrong.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be my body is gonna say it's 5:30. The dogs are gonna say it's 5:30. The clock says it's 6:30. Yeah.
We have the automatic cat feeders. We just decide to keep them the same.
Yeah, I
So
could it's smart. That's smart.
yeah,
But for me, it's mostly if it was not feeding, that would be one thing. It's the exercising because
yes, and you
I
have to take them out
have
before
to
going to
take them
work.
out. Right.
So
And I had now before I could take them out to go, into the park and, you know, get them exercise, get them pooped, and then I could come home and take a shower. I'm sorry, I could take a shower and then take them out to go poop. Now I can't because if I take a shower and take them out to go poop, my hair is gonna freeze to my fucking head. So, and yes, that has happened. So I have to like get out, get them exercised, and then get myself back to take a shower. So I take a shower afterwards, which slows down the whole process because I have long hair. because then I have to dry my hair with a hairdryer immediately out of the showers. Before, if I took a shower before I left, I'd get 45 minutes for it to kind of dry out a little bit. And then so my hair drying process would be much shorter. You're getting far too into my, hygiene habits. But yes, that's a thing, and it sucks, and I hate it, and it's supposed to be over, and screw you guys. Your farmer friend would still get to see sunlight at the end of the day. He'd just have to wait an extra month or two, month and a half, maybe 6 weeks. But instead, he wants to freeze my hair to my head. I have very little patience for that.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you. How does daylight savings day work? Thank you for the link.
Screw the farmers.
Yeah, screw the farm. Fuck those guys. So
What did they give us? They don't do shit.
what do we need them for? It's not like,
Yeah.
they feed us or clothe us. All right. So shall we hit Das Newsen?
Yes.
All right, let's hit it. This is the game. And Nick Nicola. And our first item is what, sir?
You want to go? I talked a lot
I'll
about games.
I'll go. All right. All right. So first item is, let me pull up my news. What's the good first item to start with? We'll start with the big news. Delays. Two very large, high profile delays. First one is where is it? Starfield. It's announced that Starfield is going to be delayed until November. Let me get to it. Bethesda actually announced that, and Todd Howard announced that it's going to be delayed again. This is not the first delay. It's going to launch in September for Xbox Series X and S. There's also going to be they announced that there was going to be a Starfield Direct on June 11th, so we will get more details about that.
Was that the original release date? I thought originally before this delay it was planned to come out.
It was delayed to the
summer.
first half of 2023. I don't think they actually had a date. And then they finally came out with the actual date, and it was September 6th. I wrote November. I'm wrong here. All on this. Let me fix that.
Okay,
Till
September.
September. There we go.
September's good because that's earlier than November.
Yeah, it is earlier than November, but it's still later than the first half. So the official came via a trailer that included Todd Howard confirming that it is coming this year, giving the date, and he said, quote, "We poured ourselves into this game and even I'm surprised how much we can pour. It is large. We're playing the game all the time." And when I said November, it was because I'm sorry, take it back. It was originally supposed to be November 11th, 2022, 11/11/22. Then they delayed it to the first half of 2023. Now it's been delayed a third time to September 6th, 2023. And the other big high profile delay, which sort of comes as no surprise. I think probably the biggest ones that are surprised about it is Rocksteady. After what could very charitably be called fan concerns over the gameplay reveal of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Rocksteady announced that they're putting a little hold on this, according to sources familiar with the game who were speaking to Bloomberg and Jason Schreier. The game is going to be delayed to later in 2023 to quote unquote get some polish.
I read that there are rumors because it didn't specify the delay. And so there are rumors that it could go into 2024.
Right. What they're saying now is that what isn't going to change, they're working on bugs and other aspects of the game, but they're not changing the core gameplay element, which is the thing that actually got the most amount of backlash from the gaming community.
Yeah.
Mostly because A, it's clearly live service. B, none of like the jumping and floating and everybody shooting and it being gun and equipment oriented just kind of like screams loot boxes. But on top of that, it doesn't it doesn't respect the actual characters you're playing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, was it Captain Boomerang?
Yeah.
Captain Boomerang uses a gun.
Yeah.
Kind of a problem. A
Like
lot of people have problems
the
with it.
Arkham games that Rocksteady made are famous for like really capturing the essence of Batman, both
Right.
like the stealth and the combat and the way those things work together with the character. They capture that really, really well. And that's why everyone loved those games, is because it did a good job of feeling like the Batman you see in comics and movies.
Right.
Whereas this is like, oh, they all just kind of look like generic shooty people.
Right. It just didn't feel like it's playing actual characters. It almost felt like a couple of people likened it to Crackdown with these high jumps where you're floating and then shooting and then landing and then jumping up and floating again. That it was mostly a lot just shooting people from jumping areas, or like any equipment had these purple like domes on them and you had to shoot the purple domes to take them down. It felt very generic, and a lot of people pointed out, and it's true, and you could see it if you're watching on now. I mean, we're watching the official gameplay trailer that caught so much flack from fans, that the transitions from flying to landing were not good, were not smooth. There just didn't seem it didn't seem polished, and it didn't seem like they were respecting the Marvel characters that they had. So, they say that that is not going to change. That's all gonna be the same according to these reports from inside. Um, the other thing that
Yeah.
caught a lot of hell, it's also not gonna change reportedly, is it's going to require always online connection even when you're playing single player. And they also announced that they're going to have a content akin to a battle pass. Once again, it's a live service game, and we're not super happy with live service games to start, but even less so with Marvel live service games.
Well, even
That has
less
proved
so, like
bad.
the games that clearly don't need to be live service, but have those live service things shoved on top of them, right? Like
Mhm.
this looks like Borderlands,
It
right? This
does.
is essentially
It's a looter shooter.
yeah, it's a superhero Borderlands, which is fine. But like the important thing is Borderlands is not live service. It's a
Right.
multiplayer game, but it also supports an offline mode. It supports a single player mode. And you can play it online. And so it doesn't need to be live service.
Right.
But and that's what people are
They're just
taking issue with,
kludging
is
it
that
into it because
yeah,
they
it just
they're going
feels
for the cash grab.
yeah, it feels like a cash grab. The game wasn't designed around these live service elements. It was designed to be a third person co-op shooter.
Mhm.
But you're adding like these financial burdens on top of it that will only detract from the experience, no matter how
Yes.
good the game is.
So even something that is not really that people didn't want from this game, a looter, a looter shooter, even that is made worse by the fact that they're putting this battle pass with playable characters and new skins and new equipment, blah blah blah, on top of that to turn it into a live service. So it's insult to injury. So yeah, it's delayed again. It was originally set to release in 2022, way back in the day. A May 26th release for the PS sorry, PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S was supposed to happen. That was announced last fall. Now it's been delayed to quote unquote later into 2023. So we don't even know at this point. But somebody's gone back to the drawing board, no doubt because of the reaction to this gameplay trailer that went out. So we'll see how much it actually changes. They may decide to go back and redesign it completely. I
don't think they'll do
wouldn't.
that.
I wouldn't disagree. I think that they will be making a terrible mistake if they try to hold on to the things that they've got now, unless they address these very critical game design problems. That this is going to be the next Marvel Avengers. It's just gonna, for different reasons, but it's going to be the same kind of failure.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Hey, we got Datman in the chat. Been a while, Datman. How are you? How's things? Gosh, it's been forever since I've seen you. AC Ray said, comic fans, rest assured, I quickly corrected. Thank you from a DC Marvel art. Thank you, very God. DC characters, not Marvel. Sorry, but even so, you're going to see out of that DC/Marvel universe. This is not gonna this could be bad. This could be really bad, depending on what they decide to do. And I'm glad that they've decided to make changes. But if they don't make the changes that the fans have clearly pointed, it's very clear what people have a problem with. If those are not addressed, in other words, if they say, oh, we're delaying it, but then they ignore everything that fans have told them in favor of, the powers that be that want the cash grab, this game is going to fail.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is that Rocksteady doesn't really have much say in that. It's the people at WB who
and
are making
if
those
WB
decisions.
forces Rocksteady to do what WB wants it to do over what the fans have told them are the problem, this game is going to be a Marvel Avengers style failure. It's going to go onto the pile of just really bad ideas and failures of live service games, failures of greedy corporations that are trying to put live service onto every freaking game because they're just following the masses. They want the next Destiny. They want the next Fortnite. They want the next big battle pass game. That doesn't work for everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I'm sure people at Rocksteady knew exactly how this was going to go down. They're not idiots. They've made games. They know what they make. They make games that feel like you're playing that character. The Arkham series is what they make. The fact that they've been clearly forced by someone to make this game, they knew exactly what was going to happen. Hopefully somebody, the widget salesmen at WB who don't really care what they're playing, they just want to make money because they're bros, and that's what everybody says. Live service makes money, so let's make a live service. Let's hope that they got the picture and that they take the cautionary tales that have gone before them to heart.
I think one of the important lessons, I guess you could say, I learned from just like following the game industry for so long and everything is that developers 99% of the time know exactly what the game is, right?
Yep.
Whatever criticisms
Publishers
you have about the game, they know it. They've heard it. They've probably brought that up to people, but the people were like, you know what? I know that's a really bad bug, but we need to ship the game, so we'll patch it later. Or like, yes, I see that this financial model probably isn't good, but we're being forced to implement it, so we have to find a way to make it work. Like,
right.
They know exactly what works and what doesn't. Most of the time. Like,
yeah,
it's you can't say anything for 100%, but most of the time, like if there's a feature that doesn't work or something like that, they know about it.
Right.
They know it, and for whatever reason, financial, scheduling, it's just like, hey, we need to get the game out regardless.
Right. And what bothers me is that the people that are making these wrong, bad decisions are never the people that are actually catching the crap for these decisions being made.
Mhm.
Everybody is going to scream at Rocksteady, "How dare you? How could you do this to us?" And I'm pretty sure Rocksteady has nothing to do with these decisions. Not at all. It's some guy at WB who's telling them what to do, and that guy is working with complete impunity because he's anonymous, no one knows, no one cares, and when it goes onto his resume, it's fine. Like, they are failure proof. They can completely screw over a studio, and it never comes back on them. That stink never attaches to them. And that's a bad, bad, bad model to be in, that there's no accountability for the person that actually made the decision that was bad against everybody. When everybody tells you it's a bad idea, from the developer to the fans to everybody, and you still insist on doing it and it ends up failing, you should be the one that where the buck stops. And it doesn't happen in this industry. It's always about the developer. And they're the ones in many cases with the least amount of power. They can do nothing. At least with fans, we can choose not to buy it. We can make the game fail, but it's laid at the feet of the developer who has no ability to change what they're doing. And it's laid on them personally. And it's considered a failure of the designer or failure of the producer. It's not considered the failure of the guy who actually is calling the shots.
Yeah.
Pencil pushers at work. Hey, Chunderbox, what you doing in October, baby? Because he's in Australia. And you know, Bali is like for them what Hawaii is for us.
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
It is. That's where they go on, like, like spring break is Bali. I'm going to Bali in October, baby. If you want to meet me there, I'll take you to dinner. We'll show you a good time.
AC Wraith asked, how many people who worked on the Arkham games are still at Rocksteady?
That's a good question.
Imagine a lot.
Probably,
Like,
it probably
I
is
haven't
a lot.
heard about a lot of turnover at that company.
Mm-hmm.
So assume that. But speaking of bad publishers,
yes,
this may surprise you. I have shocking news. Shocking.
Okay.
Square Enix is disappointed with the sales of its games. Right? Right? This never happens.
Okay.
This never happens.
Oh my God. I cannot believe.
At a financial...
I wish I had pearls so I could clutch them.
In a financial statement, Square Enix president, the current one, not the new one coming in, said that the sales of Forspoken have been lackluster following challenging reviews. Quote, however, the game has also received...
Really? Can we use that? AC Wraith, write this down. I want this another euphemism. Challenging reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway, sorry.
Excuse me. He said, however, the game has also received positive feedback on its action features, including its parkour and combat abilities. So it has yielded results that will lead to improvement of our development capabilities of other games in the future. Which I think is
shining a turd.
Which I think is
shining the turd.
See, I think that's a really interesting point, because that to me says people like the movement and combat in our games. So we're going to take these systems and put them into other games. They're going to make something else with a similar parkour style to it, right? To me, that says, hey, people liked this thing about the game. We're going to, I don't know, make probably some Final Fantasy spinoff that involves parkouring.
Well, I didn't notice it, didn't know anything about this, like, manicure set that actually gives you powers.
It looks like, if I remember correctly, it's like nail art, right?
Mm-hmm. Nail art.
You do your nails, and that's like how you equip powers. Which, it's a neat idea.
It's not a horrible idea, but it's still kind of...
It's neat. It's just a aesthetic trapping.
Yeah.
But what he says too is that said, its sales have been lackluster, and while the performance of new titles with February and March release dates will be the ultimate determinant, we see considerable downside risk to our financial 23 earnings.
Mhm.
So, what's interesting too, and I saw this has a comment, and it's not on this story. It was on some other website, but someone had a really interesting comment that Square Enix put out a ton of games last year. They had Forspoken, they had the Starfield Chronicles, they had Tactics Ogre Reborn, they had I think a remake of Chrono Cross, they had like 2 other games as well. Oh, and they just released Octopath Traveler 2.
Right.
And like they pump out all these games that for the most part get okay reviews. Forspoken got, challenging reviews. But Dealfield Chronicles got okay reviews, like nothing stupendous, but nothing awful. Tactics Ogre Reborn got nothing but rave reviews. So why are they always disappointing in sales?
Mhm.
And someone in the comments made an interesting point that they are atrocious at marketing.
They are.
They never market their games. And they did Octopath Traveler as an example. I guess
Octopath Traveler succeeded despite
well, here's the thing.
everything that Square Enix did.
The sequel is apparently, and I think it just came out, but like I guess day one sales have not been high. And the person was comparing that to Octopath Traveler 1, which at the time of its release was a Nintendo Switch exclusive, and as a result, got front page on the Nintendo eShop. Right? Like Nintendo promoted the hell out of it
Oh,
because it was an exclusive.
it was exclusive. That makes sense.
This game, the sequel, despite coming out on multiple platforms, is doing maybe the worse or the same.
because they're not getting free advertising from the consoles.
Yeah, because they're just not getting any advertising, and Square
Right.
Enix is terrible at promoting their own games. Like, I honestly didn't know Octopath Traveler 2 was out until I saw someone post a review of it on like Kotaku or something.
And you loved Octopath
And
Traveler 1.
I really like that game.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, this came out? So yeah, it's not an issue with the games. Like Square Enix, they have a range of games from great to bad, but like, with any developer, most of them are pretty good. But they just are crap at promoting it.
Yeah. And Vice says, but they are going to double down on NFTs because clearly that's the logical conclusion. I'm assuming you're talking about with Square Enix because Square Enix has absolutely said that they are NFT friendly. They want NFTs. They see this as being that it provides a unique experiences. Their words, not mine. Provides unique experiences for the game, for the players, and it doesn't. No.
Oh yeah,
doesn't.
the kids love their non-fungible tokens.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. So yeah, Square Enix is really not very good at its job. It just isn't. It's not a very good company.
Which is a shame because they are still like hands down the kings of like turn-based strategy games.
Yeah, they are.
I
the way
played
that Paradox is good on like big world strategy games. Like Paradox found its niche. Square Enix has its niche. It just they are so ineptly run as a company themselves.
Yeah. Which is why at first when they sold off all the American studios, like I didn't think that was a bad thing. Like I think Square Enix is much better at making mid-tier turn-based games for a niche audience. So getting rid of all these AAA Western studios, like honestly made sense. Like I think that works better for their business model.
Mm-hmm.
But the business model is still messed up, so they still need some work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and AC Ray says the fingernail mods are an awesome idea. Can't help picturing kids having fun with it with the cosplay.
Yeah.
If that game took off, that would
Not
be a
gonna lie, some of
perfect
those
cosplay thing.
that nail art I would absolutely get.
Mhm.
You would think Bitter says you would think Square would have smart people there to mention how bad of an idea that is. They probably do, but it probably is another case of the managers don't listen. Maybe they do. I don't know. The fact that Square Enix could be as inept as it is and still be in business says much about actually the quality of the games that they may put
Well,
out.
it says that lots of people like Final Fantasy,
Right.
right?
Right.
Everybody is putting money into Final Fantasy 14. I'm still really excited about Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
The Final Fantasy 7 remake series is genuinely good. They have a franchise that keeps them afloat, which at this point, honestly, is kind of what most developers are. Like
Most developers want to be. Yep.
Take-Two has GTA.
Mm-hmm.
EA has like
And Red Dead.
FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Red Dead Online doesn't make a whole lot of money, I think.
No, well, I don't know if it did.
Like
I don't know if it did.
GTA Online prints cash like a demon.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the big publishers have like, we have a golden goose, and if this egg ever breaks, we will die. Everything we've worked for will be destroyed.
Yep. AC Ray says, I still have yet to play a Final Fantasy, either proper or side story. Have I?
Yeah, some of them are pretty good.
I
Some of
played
them are better
one.
than
I can't
others.
remember which one it was. It was a long, long time ago, but that was it. Vice says it did not. Hence, they stopped working on it. Yeah, Red Dead Online. Yeah, true. But they also have a really high bar. I think if Red Dead Online had been made by just about any other studio, it would still be online. But because Take-Two has such a high bar for success because of GTA Online, they let it go because they don't need it. They've already got their ATM. They don't need a savings account.
Yeah.
So, yep, he says. So, all right, next item. My next item is, let's see, what do we want to talk about? We talked about Starfield. We talked about, oh, here's a couple of stories that kind of go together. It has to do with Resident Evil. The first one is that the Resident Evil 4 remake, which is coming out, is going to be huge. The preload size of the Resident Evil 4 remake for Xbox has been revealed, and it is more than double the size of Resident Evil Village. So this was shared by a user named Restera. The Resident Evil 4 remake preload is currently available on Xbox series consoles, and it is at 67.18 gigs. Almost 70 gigs.
I mean, at this point, that's not that big.
It isn't, but when you compare it to things like Resident Evil, the gold edition was 30 gigs, almost 31. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, the gold edition, was 23, almost 24 gigs.
Wow,
Resident Evil
small
2 remake was 20, just over 23, and the Resident Evil 3 remake was almost 29, just like below 29. So we're talking about at 67, in some cases 3 times bigger than some of these other
Those
remakes.
games have been shockingly small size-wise.
Right. That's what that news came out, and then the discussion started. The discussion was, holy crap, that's big. And then the second wave of discussion is, well, you got to think about the fact that Resident Evil 4 was a much bigger game than any of those others.
Resident Evil 4 is stupidly long and big.
Yeah. The original version came in at 15 and a half hours to finish the main story and 31 hours to complete the entire thing to platinum it. The other Resident Evil games were all around 10 hours. So this is still, I mean, it's 3 times to finish it. I should say the main story in other ones were 10 hours. The main story in Resident Evil 4 was 50 and a half. So about 50% bigger as far as the main story is concerned. And yet we're talking about 3 times the size as far as the actual size of the file. So just so you
feel like-
know, if you're getting it, you need to delete some stuff off of your hard drive.
I
or
feel like
get
it's
another hard drive.
consistently taken me more than 10 hours to beat any Resident Evil game.
Well, that's average. You know,
Um,
we both play games much slower than average. We like to savor our games.
Yes. Oh, just save it. Hold it in my mouth.
The other news about Resident Evil 4 Remake is about the collector's edition. If you purchased the collector's edition, especially if you purchased it from GameStop, I've got some bad news if you haven't already gotten it in your email. GameStop has reportedly canceled all in-store pre-orders of Resident Evil 4's collector's edition.
Yeah.
So this was first highlighted by the Twitter user Wario64, who's, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. He's the guy that got me a PlayStation 5. Wario64, they're constantly pumping out information about stuff that's interesting. And according to them, GameStop employees reportedly received a memo this week informing them that the physical stores would not be receiving the collector's edition, and that orders that were already made were to be canceled and exchanges offered to the customers. The online orders reportedly were unaffected, but GameStop hasn't commented and nobody knows at this point.
There's an update that some online orders are also being canceled now.
Right. We don't know why.
There's an update to this Kotaku article.
Oh, it is? Okay, good.
I guess GameStop sent out an internal email that blamed this on last fall. They revamped their inventory software that like completely messed up all their inventory stuff. And it was a big deal back then. They're still blaming it now. They say that this is, quote, this situation was one of the last major issues presented by the SAP implementation last year.
Oh, they're using SAP. Okay. Oh, yeah.
But like, begs the question, you're still having inventory issues this many months later? And also, like, what kind of inventory issues just flat out cancel everything? Like, all orders.
Man, like maybe they don't know how many things they're supposed to be getting, or maybe they double sold or triple sold or quadruple sold everything, and SAP inventory didn't let them know that there was no inventory, so they were selling beyond, well,
Maybe.
way beyond what they should. Even so, SAP's a really good company. This tells me that it was implemented poorly, or that GameStop has some very bad systems existing that SAP is trying to work within and can't, because those systems, when they came in, were so broken. SAP knows what they're doing.
What is SAP?
SAP is, what does it stand for specifically? They do a lot of, they're really specialized in inventory control, and I believe, what else do they do? Like, we used SAP with my old company, Vituity.
It develops enterprise software to manage business operations and customer relations.
Yep.
But what does it stand for?
What does SAP SE is a German company. I didn't know they were German. German multinational software company based in Waldorf, Baden-Württemberg. It develops enterprise software to manage business operations and customer relations. The company's world leader in enterprise resource planning software.
Oh, system analysis program.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, they do financial management, business technology, CRM, and customer experience, capital. That's what we used it for. Human capital management, supply chain management. Oh, let me pull up. I can actually pull up the website.
Yeah, lots of business software.
Yeah,
so
pretty
it
much.
Makes sense
you can have a whole business that's nothing but SAP.
Yeah. And so it makes sense that GameStop would go to SAP software. But yeah,
Right.
whoever
They are the industry like captains of all this stuff. But like they do
did
supply
that
chain management,
transition,
spend management. Essentially, when you become SAP, it's like SAP runs your whole company for all intents and purposes. So yeah, they're a big company of doing that kind of stuff. And so yeah, SAP knows what it's doing. It tells me that
GameStop doesn't.
that GameStop doesn't know what it's doing. Either way,
I'm
it sucks that people are getting all of these collector's editions being canceled.
Yes. I am surprised that GameStop is still in business. Even after the whole meme stock thing,
Yeah.
like they
I
have
am too.
found every conceivable way to mess up.
Talk about two incredibly inept companies that seem to be in business despite their ineptitude.
Hey, at least Square Enix makes good products. No one on any chain of command has good things to say about GameStop,
No.
right? Everyone from the workers up are like, this place sucks. This place
Mhm.
sucks. I hate it here. The company sucks. Everyone sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why anybody would work at GameStop other than the fact that they have to. Like, that's the only job in town. I
Yeah.
just don't see why anyone would be a GameStop employee, much less a GameStop manager.
Oh, that's the worst. Like as an employee, I could understand. You're like, yeah, I'm here on weekends. I don't really give a shit. I'm 14 years old.
Right.
I'm selling games. Oh, you're gonna ask me to come in on the weekends? I'm sorry. I'm sick.
Right. Right. And then of course that left with the manager doing it. They've had situations where like GameStops, they just close the store and they're like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I've had my entire staff call out sick. I'm the manager of 3 stores, and all 3 stores, everybody called out sick because they don't want to work today. So we're just closing,
Yeah.
and you should never purchase anything from this company.
Vice says, isn't that what goes for a lot of companies and entire industries? People work there because they have to.
Yeah, but GameStop is so much worse than other companies, so much worse than other companies that I don't understand why anyone would put an application there. Seriously, I just don't understand. Cheap games, you get cheap games, maybe.
I don't think so.
There's just the I can't see that being a thing. Anyway,
Anyways, well,
so yeah.
speaking of
Yeah, by the way, the collector's edition, in case you were curious about what that was the game. It was a steel book. It was a statue of Leon Kennedy. It was an art book. It was a poster. It was a digital soundtrack. So if you did purchase one of those, even if you purchased it through GameStop online, even if you didn't purchase it from GameStop, I would double check to make sure it's all still there. Just simply for the fact that it's said that it's an SAP thing, but it could be something more profound than just GameStop. So just check your pre-order if you haven't gotten a cancellation already.
yeah. Speaking of company failures, let's just keep on rolling this ball down the hill. So when Google killed off Stadia,
Yeah,
they're
Vice was
pretty
saying
much
we're let's see. I mean, we are here in a gaming channel where pretty much a large chunk of the industry is known to be exploitive and abusive as hell. True. True. But when you're dealing with an industry that is known for being exploitive to the point where like people unlife themselves, we've talked about that here, and that's like endemic to the industry. When you're so bad that everybody else in that industry goes, oh man, you suck, that's how bad you are. The bar is low, very low, for being abusive in the game industry, and GameStop is known as being abusive.
Yeah.
Anyway, going on.
So yeah, Back to Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
When Google killed off Stadia, they mentioned that while they're killing off the consumer facing portion of it, they would still offer the streaming technology to other companies that wanted to use it. The Google executive Jack Buser, I almost want to say Jack Bauer, but that's a very different
Please,
person.
that's a different Jack. But wouldn't it be awesome if he would actually, if Jack Bauer was real, he probably would work for Google. Alphabet.
Would he
sorry.
be like? Would he be like a Google fixer? Like someone's trying to hack Google. I'm gonna track them. I have 24 hours to
Hours to
track them
track 'em
down and
down.
take them out. Um, but he
Anyway, you were
said,
saying.
Jack Buser has said that the company is now no longer offering the white label version of Stadia, which is basically the version of Stadia that AT&T used to stream games like Arkham Knight and Control, and it's
Oh,
what Capcom used to stream a demo of Resident Evil Village.
okay.
I guess he told Stephen Totillo, "We are not offering that streaming option because it was tied to Stadia itself. So unfortunately, when we decided not to move forward with Stadia, that sort of offering could no longer be offered as well." So basically, everything Stadia related, all that streaming technology is kaput, which feels like a shame because like that's
Yeah.
a lot of work to put into that Google's kind of now just
A lot of
shrugging
work,
off.
a lot of money.
A lot of work, a lot of money.
And I just get the feeling like it's going to be one of those situations where, like we've mentioned it a few times that um uh, uh one of the if only Xbox had, what was it? It's streaming, the game streaming.
xCloud?
Wasn't XCloud? No. The one that was going to go against Twitch.
Oh, Mixer.
Mixer. If only Xbox had released Mixer later or had stuck with it longer, that they would actually be able to compete against Twitch because Twitch is doing such a terrible job.
Yeah.
They were just too early. I get the feeling that Stadia also was just a little too early. It it's there. I mean, obviously on live way too early.
Yeah.
Stadia a little too early. I think that there's going to be developments within the industry that it becomes clear that if Stadia was still around, we wouldn't have the shitty something that we have now.
Which
That conversation is going to happen.
I think maybe puts Amazon Luna in a good position because they're the only non-Xbox one.
Right.
Well, I guess no. Sony has their streaming service for like backwards compatibility.
Right.
But Luna, like Amazon still supports that. They still put games out on it.
It's
They just
there. Nobody's using it, but it also, they're just kind of
no one talks about it. But that's the thing. It's just kind of flying under the radar,
Mhm.
doing its thing, surviving until like the technology gets really good or Amazon makes like a
Right.
serious push for it to
Right.
be like, now we're doing this. But for now, it's just like it's existing and
Mhm.
it's surviving.
Right. It's probably a good idea. And
Yes.
Amazon
Yeah. Yeah. I'll bet
Amazon's
you.
playing the long game.
I'll bet you because Amazon has mentioned that they are publishing the next Tomb Raider games, right? I'll
True.
bet you that when that game comes out, there's going to be a big Amazon Luna push for it, right? Play this
Possibly.
on Amazon. Play this on your web browser with Amazon Luna.
Mhm. Yep. Vice says, I mean, too early, yes, but I believe the general reputation of Google Alphabet having a super nervous trigger finger also did not help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Killed, what was it? Death by Google? Killed by Google?
Yeah.
The
That
website?
website.
Yeah. It's a long website for a reason, and Google is pretty notorious for that. Amazon is known for being exactly the opposite. They've wanted to be in games, and they don't throw a stupid amount of money at stuff the way that Facebook or Google does, but They throw just enough to get the, infrastructure done, and then they just kind of keep testing the waters. Amazon games are still there because they put a bunch of money in it and only had one game that's sort of good. They're
Yeah.
just keeping tinkering with it until they get
The
it right.
small accounts like New World is still chugging
Right.
along.
That's what I mean. New World, is it's chugging? Is it like Amazon doesn't go into anything thinking that it's going to be instant like cash money and it's going to rule the world. Google does and Facebook does. And if it doesn't, it just kills it. Facebook just keeps throwing more money at it until it fails.
Oh, we see you don't like this. What if we gave
We
it to
put-
you again?
Right. What if
What
we put
if-
another $10 billion in the next
Yeah.
month and a half? Will
Would
that
you
make
like it
better?
then? No.
What if I give you
Intriguing.
legs? Speaking of which, I've heard that and I didn't see any evidence, like articles about it, but I have heard that Facebook has quiet killed Reality Labs.
Oh, that
quiet
would
killed-
be
Quiet killed the metaverse. I'm just kind of hearing that around, that they've no announcement. They've just kind of said they've shifted Reality Labs' focus to, what do you think?
AR.
AI.
AI.
Chat GPT. They saw what Chat GPT did and they want some of that.
They saw an actual like new invention that was making money.
Right. Or that got, I don't know if it was making money. It's getting a lot of attention. And so they're saying, we spent a lot of money at this AI, this virtual reality thing, and it doesn't seem to be panning out, even though it looked like that was the next big thing. Now the next big thing actually seems to be AI. Maybe we should put several billion into that. And I'm sure it's not because Mark Zuckerberg wants to abandon that. They put how many billions? Like an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
Enough money that they could eradicate hunger on Earth. And it's that the stockholders want him to stop, especially in light. Mark my word, when it comes to the tech industry, the next 18 months are going to be very interesting, starting this last week, starting Wednesday, with the failure of Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah. Yeah, that funded a whole lot of startups. I even read Roku has like a quarter of its money tied up there.
The fact that the failure of that bank could destroy a stable coin, the USD coin. The fact that it destroyed a stable coin, that has a lot of implications, because now there's nothing for people to make transactions from crypto. Well, not nothing. There are others, but it took out a major way that people were able to get their crypto coin into actual dollars to pay their like mortgages and use for daily living. It's the thing that actually determined the value of your crypto coin, was the USD coin, one of them. And this is I believe, the first, like, we knew that crypto was dying like last year when the market fell and collapsed. This is the first death knell, like the true death knell of cryptocurrency, where it's going to fail. It's going to collapse uniformly. And it's also going to be a problem for a lot of companies because they can't get their money to pay. And this is what caused it. They can't get their money out to cover payroll. That's what caused the run on the banks, because we haven't had this like for a little while because of the interest rates and, other issues. Some big companies needed to withdraw money that they had in the bank to pay bills. And when several of them asked for their money back to pay the bills, all of that money was in long-term investments that they couldn't get their money, that SVB couldn't get their money back out of. So that's a problem. You're going to see a lot of failure. You're going to see like this whole like, oh yeah, we don't make any money, but we're worth $10 billion. That's this is ending, and it's ending now. This is that moment. I don't have any money in SVB. Thank God. But I do have money in another one that's actually getting affected, and everybody's looking at being the next big failure.
Oh.
That's where I have on my business account. That's where I have my personal account. It's where my company has its business accounts. They quickly diversified.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, is anything over $250,000 in any of those banks is not insured. And most of these venture capital companies, most of these startups have more than $250,000 in that bank, in Silicon Valley Bank. And those are the ones that are going to get screwed. So yeah, the money for a lot of these tech companies, and it's not just startups, it's actually medium tier things like Roku. I don't call Roku a startup. I don't call Circle that had that ran the USD coin a startup. But these medium tier tech, a lot of their money just disappeared and will never come back. So they're not going to have the money that they thought they did because it was in that bank that was not diversified enough and mismanaged. It was mismanaged. So, yeah, the tech industry moved fast and broke its most move fast and break things, including your bank. Yeah, that's pretty much. Actually, it was the bank that broke the bank.
Tech industry is very good at breaking things, not necessarily fixing them or making them better.
Yeah, that's the problem. So, I can't imagine that there wasn't a significant amount of money from Facebook in Silicon Valley Bank, if not Reality Labs, depending on how they were, how they were financially structured. So I'm very much thinking that if the metaverse hasn't been killed off quietly now already, it will be killed off maybe quietly, maybe not very soon. This is the week where everything's going to change. Mark my words. This is the week everything's going to change. Vice says, I mean, it's totally different than anything before, but it's not like we had big bank crash and economy issues a few years back or anything. Oh, wait. Interestingly enough, and I know we're going on a total tangent that has nothing to do with Google not offering their streaming to tech business, but if you're not aware of what exactly, the nuts and bolts of what exactly happened, is that Silicon Valley Bank, or the company that runs Silicon Valley Bank, which is 90% of its business is Silicon Valley Bank itself, SVIC, I think it is. SVIC, they were getting all of this money, venture capital money, like startups were like, oh, we just got, $3 billion in startup money. They would invest it. They would put it into Silicon Valley Bank. Well, then all of a sudden Silicon Valley Bank's got this like money coming out of its ears, doesn't know what to do with it. And it's making loans, but it's so much money that they're not doing loans. They're not doing that much loans to cover all of the just pure cash that's being given to them by depositors. So they took that money and they put it into, tell me if you've heard this before, federal mortgage-backed bonds. Now, these were not like the junk mortgage-backed securities that killed us off in 2008. It's not those, but they were mortgage-backed securities. And what killed us was that these mortgage-backed securities that were going to mature in 10 plus years, so they could get that, they could wait for 10 years and pay them back, and it would give them 2.5%. Well, when they bought those, 2.5% was not bad, for a very relatively safe investment, a federal bond. The problem was that when our interest rates went from 3% to like, what is it now? The prime rate is like 7, 8%,
I don't
9%.
know.
All of a sudden you could get bonds from the government that were making like 8%, 9%. Well, you couldn't trade a bond that's making 2% because you could go to the government and get a bond that's making 7%. So you couldn't trade it quickly just to get your money back. Like instead of waiting for the bond to come to maturity, you'd sell the bond to somebody else, but you'd have to take a loss on what you paid for it. And that's what got them into trouble is all of a sudden when they had this run on banks for tech companies that couldn't cover their bills, they're like, hey, we need to withdraw some money because things going not great for us right now. So we need to actually cover our payroll. So we actually need to withdraw some of this money. When they did, it was like, oh crap, that money is in those bonds. We got to sell those bonds. Well, if we sell those bonds, we're going to lose money on the bonds. Crap, which is what happened. And that's how they became insolvent and how the government had to step in. So meanwhile, any tech company, anybody who has more than $250 per depositor in that bank is not covered by the government. So if you have, $1 million, which there was a lot of accounts that had more than $1 million in there, a lot of depositors who had more than $1 million of money in that bank, they get covered for $250,000. And then the rest of it is like, well, they got to sell the rest of the assets of the bank. And then, you get settled out. You get paid maybe 10, 20 cents for every dollar for what you actually put in. So money just disappeared and dried up. And this is where we're going to start seeing many of these companies unable to make payroll. In some cases, the companies were coming to the bank and asking for the withdrawal because they were going to lay people off and they needed to give them severance. They don't have the money now to give them severance. So they're having to keep these people on as employees, even though they want to fire them because it can't give them a severance pay because they don't have any money to give them severance, which means that the company itself is starting to fail because it can't keep the people employed and can't pay for them to leave. This is what they call a contagion. And this is they weren't patient 0, they were patient 1.
And that's a good time to mention. AC Wraith put a link in the chat about the government has now closed a bank, Signature Bank.
That was patient 0.
Which I was reading. No, I guess they closed this as a response to Silicon Valley Bank to try to contain the fallout. I think you're thinking
I thought Signature
You're
failed.
thinking of Silverfin or Silver something.
No.
That was the one that
Signature Bank said they were having problems. Then Silicon Valley Bank failed, and then Signature Bank failed. So they were actually
because this just happened.
Out.
Like them, I googled this, and regulators closed Signature Bank like today, like hours ago.
Right. But the Signature Bank had indicated before Silicon Valley went down. Silicon Valley Bank went down like a rock. It was instantaneous. Like, oh, you wake up one morning, it's like your bank is gone. Signature Bank, which is a bank that primarily caters to crypto businesses. They had already said that they were having problems, and that I forgot what they had said. They had actually made some kind of indication like, hey, we got an issue. We're trying to work it out. And then Silicon Valley Bank failed, and then Signature Bank also failed. So they were kind of happening at the same time, but Signature was the first one to actually say, hey, things aren't going well. And of course, this is honestly all related to fucking cryptocurrency. It is so much related to cryptocurrency. The fact that this was a Ponzi scheme. Cryptocurrency is an unregulated Ponzi scheme where people were selling you fake stuff and people were paying for it. And the fact that it got big and then so many people jumped into it, forgetting that cryptocurrency doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. And it could fall apart at any minute. And it did. So cryptocurrency is what took down Signature Bank. Cryptocurrency is partially what's taking down Silicon Valley Bank. And Silicon Valley Bank is taking down cryptocurrency because of the USD coin. It's the whole house of cards is starting to tumble. And then let's go back to FTX. FTX was kind of like the first thing that happened. And yes, SBV was connected to, there was connections between Signature Bank, FTX and Silicon Valley Bank. There were absolutely connections there. So yeah, this is the house of cards starting to fail.
The crypto house of cards specifically affecting wider financial markets.
Mm-hmm. And the big winners are going to be JP Morgan. So many companies now pulling out and saying that we pulled out of all of these other banks and we're going to JP Morgan. So it's all going back to the thing that everybody said cryptocurrency was against.
You're right.
Oh, we're not connected to,
The
governments or the man or businesses because it's all fake. Money's all fake. It's just a concept. Yeah, it is until, it all fails and everybody puts their money in JP Morgan.
Okay, conspiracy theory time. This was all planned by JP Morgan 30 years ago.
Possibly. Mm-hmm. JP Morgan is not what you call nice people. I mean, there are no white knights there. They just happen to be the one who's going to be screwed over least by all of this. But yes, Genderbox says the world will be a much happier place when NFTs and crypto is gone from our lives. That is absolutely true. The problem is that in the process of it being gone, it's going to wreck us for a good long time. We're not going to be done with this until I'm like in my retirement age. That's how much damage it's done, and that's how deep these roots are going to go. Yeah. Anyway,
so yeah,
moving right along.
Hey, guess what? Google's no longer.
I am not a financial expert. I'm not a financial expert. This is not advice. I want to make that clear. I don't know anything. I don't have any degrees in finance. I just like somebody who owns a business.
I mean, you're not giving financial advice. You're just explaining situations. Like you've
explaining
read
the situation the way that I understand it to be from reading the Wall Street Journal.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying I should invest all my money,
all your money, buy USD coin. You're getting it at a discount. It's only 80 cents right now.
Look, you buy the dip, man. Buy the dip.
You buy the dip. Buy low, sell high.
This is the time to do it. Buy the stable coin while it's like fractions of a penny.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with my First Republic Bank. I don't know if I want to pull it out because I don't want to make it worse for them. I don't want First Republic Bank to fail at all. The main thing that I could do that would hurt them the most is to pull it out. But by the same token, I also know that I'm completely covered for investment because I don't have that much money there. Our money is diversified through other banks.
Okay.
So I don't know if I want to pull it out, but then I kind of sort of want to pull it out. To the moon! Yeah, that's where you're going to find all of your missing cash out of SBV. It's buried on the moon.
Only suckers hide cash under their bed. Real men hide it on the moon.
What do you think SpaceX was for, dude? What do you think SpaceX was for?
Oh, shit.
He took it to the moon.
Elon Musk just has a bed frame on the moon with a bunch of cash under it.
Yeah, you know that thing that he sent out into space with his Tesla in it? You know, it's in the trunk of the Tesla. Anyway, all right. So,
Okay.
next item. That is
Next
not
item.
anything to do with how we're all gonna die. We're all gonna be poor tomorrow.
Oh, well, here.
Yes.
PlayStation released an update
Yes.
that finally integrates Discord into the whole PlayStation ecosystem.
Discord's another one of those startups that's gonna get hammered. It's gonna get screwed.
Shh, we're talking positive things now.
All right.
Evie.
Sorry.
We can use Discord to communicate across platforms because it's now on
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Honestly,
So we could use
I'm
it
really.
stock on PC and Xbox.
And
all
when
that
I
stuff.
got onto Discord today, they're like, "Hey, do you want to connect your PS5 account?" It's actually,
Yeah.
prompting me to connect my PlayStation account to it. I didn't do it just because I didn't have time to do it, but I really love this idea because how many times that honestly, this is what kind of sucks. The reason why I really wanted to have Discord was because on PlayStation, why we used Discord was when we were playing. What were we playing? Was it Extraction, Rainbow Six Extraction? It was, I think, with Chris, and he was on Stadia. We would use Discord.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, Discord is really good, really great for systems like Stadia. And for, like if you're crossplay with a PC, but that's what makes Xbox. I mean, if it's on PlayStation, it's actually, like it's lipstick. I don't say lipstick on a pig, but it's like giving a fish a bicycle. That bicycle could probably be better
Yeah.
used over at Xbox.
Well, it's just nice to have a means of communication. As more
Outside.
games implement cross-play, it's
Right.
nice to have a cross-communication ability because PlayStation sure as hell is not going to let you communicate with Xbox people through its own
Right.
thing.
No,
might
but
be
many
able
of
to
these
use
games
in-game
do
chat.
have, right, they do the
Yeah,
in-game
some
chat.
games have the in-game chat, but it's still nice to have like a kind of third party out of in-game because the problem with playing with Chris on Stadia is that the moment we exited Extraction, the moment we went to the home screen, we
couldn't
lost
communicate.
communication.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I agree. And as we both know, even when you're all in the same party, or on the same platform, that the in-game chat is always of a lower quality and a little bit more janky. It doesn't sound as good or is just not as good as the actual party chat, which means that, I mean, there's only so much optimization that a developer can do, and their priority is not making their in-game chat sound great.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be part of their calculus of making a game. They've got better things to do than worrying about what it sounds like. So the fact that you can actually separate out to Discord, which is all about everything sounding good and also allows you to stream, which is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Has part of this update as well, Sony is improving support for 1440p monitors. They're improving their voice command support, and they're changing, making it a little bit easier for party chats inside the dashboard when using the screen share function. So a bunch of little quality of life things, but Discord is the big news story here.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to connect it. I'm probably going to use it, but I'm really not really using my PlayStation as much as I am my Xbox these days, and it's due to Game Pass. Not gonna lie, Game Pass is making me play the Xbox. My next item is, let's see. Oh, speaking of Game Pass, a bunch of games are coming to Game Pass. Xbox shared the latest games that are gonna join Game Pass, and also, the games that are about to leave. So this month, coming to Game Pass, Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3 coming to the cloud March 9th. actually, that was already happened, right?
Okay,
It's
yeah.
after March.
So
Yeah,
they would
just a
already
couple
be
days
out
ago.
here.
Valheim is coming on, let's see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, March 14th. So just a couple days from now, Valheim, the game preview is going to be on console. Sid Meier's Civ 4 is coming to cloud console and PC on March 16th. And Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, the Prince's Edition, is coming to console and PC on March 12th, today. And then Game Pass Ultimate subscribers can also, starting now, claim a bunch of rewards for the games, including Halo Infinite's Corrupted Assault Rifle Bundle. For Sims 4, the Sleepover Sleepwear set. I don't know why I do that. It just feels like a Barbie thing. I know it sort of is, but still.
Oh, did
F.
you? Oh, okay. I'll wait. Potentially good news for you.
Oh,
An
okay.
upcoming game.
Stand by. F1 22 is the Champions Content Bundle. And for Madden NFL 23, the EA Play Supercharge, which is coming. It's actually already left May 9th, available until March 9th, so that's already passed. Pardon me. But what is leaving, so you know, you need to jump on it if it hasn't already gone. F1 2020 for the console via EA Play. Goat Simulator on cloud console and PC, also going away. Kentucky Route Zero for cloud console and PC, also going away. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which kind of sucks because I really wanted to play that, was also going away for cloud console and PC. Paradise Killer, cloud console PC. Undertale, cloud console PC. Young Souls, cloud console PC. And Zero Escape, the Nonary Games, cloud console PC. All of them gone.
That is a rabbit hole of a series.
Is it?
Oh, the Nonary Games is like, hey, what if every conspiracy theory was true?
Oh, just what we need. Just we need more conspiracy
They're
theories.
great. They're great games. I love them. They're wild. They don't have any like proper conclusion, but oh my god, what a roller coaster ride of puzzles and timelines. It's wild. So
Yeah.
good.
All right. Well, yeah, you need to jump on it if it hasn't already gone. I don't know the exact date when that's leaving, but it's leaving.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are your games to jump onto. I'm kind of excited for Valheim. It being on console is just, and also Game Pass is just enough for me to try it to decide how much I don't like it.
Well, yeah, if it's on console and Game Pass, I'll join in there to
Yeah.
try it out with you.
Yeah. It's kind of like Rust on console. I kind of want to try it just so I know that how much I really hate it. How much I don't. I love Rust YouTube videos. I most nights I watch at least one or two of like hour-long videos of these stories of things that have happened for people on Rust, like Wiljum or Sebi K. I really do enjoy these. But I know I would never play that game. Just like I like watching them play it. And otherwise
they're
I'm
probably
out.
playing at a way high level than
They're
you
playing
would
at a
be
way
when you
higher
get
level
in.
and they're doing way interesting things than they know how to play.
Mhm.
So I know if I went in, I'd be like, oh, how do I do any of this stuff? And yeah, I would like fail and have everything stolen from me.
I've got a rock
die
and a
have to wait.
stick.
Right.
How do I sharpen the stick?
Right. How do I, like, I know certain things now, like put down a sleeping bag ASAP, put down a sleeping bag, but how do I make a sleeping bag? I don't know. I just know you put one down. Anyway.
Anyways, the news for you that I don't have any bumper for because I just thought of it is Paradox announced a new game called Life by You, which looks like it will be a Sims competitor. So in the same way that Paradox kind of supplanted SimCity with City Skyline,
Right.
they're looking to take on the Sims with this new game called Life by You.
Yes.
And on March 20th, they're going to hold a bigger announcement.
Okay.
Going over, like, introducing the game.
I want to, I read about that today and I thought, I want to look at that, but I didn't have time. So I'm glad you brought that up because I did see that. And I'm not going to lie. I would not be even remotely curious about anything except for the fact that it's Paradox. Paradox
Yeah.
really Paradox is what we thought CDPR was. They just do a really, really good job at the strategy games that they make. Oh, really? They don't make any clunkers, except for the fact that they might make them a little too complicated. And City Skyline, just to talk about a rabbit hole. Yeah, and I haven't even talked about City Skyline 2 was announced. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I'm afraid of City Skyline 2. That is a life eater.
So yeah, Paradox just pumping out stuff for you.
Oh yeah. Paradox absolutely has my number. Let's see. Life by You. Do we have any
We don't have any information. There might be like a
what it looks
screenshot
like?
and a
I'm looking
tiny
at
video.
Life by You teaser. Okay,
Yeah.
here is I'm pulling up the teaser right now for you so you can see it. Let's take a look, see what this looks like. I'll even turn up. Oh, the music. Sorry. Okay. Teaser for it. I absolutely can see them doing Sims better. There's a lot of things that Sims doesn't do well, especially the most recent Sims. But Paradox has a really long way to catch up. Like City Skyline, Paradox didn't have a big amount of time to. Oh gosh, this music is annoying as hell. All right, so that's it. That's all they gave us.
Yep. Just a little announcement tease.
Yeah, just a little announcement tease. All right. Well, but even so, the whole thing about City Skyline taking over SimCity was that SimCity was pretty well abandoned. It
Yeah.
really hadn't been updated. It hadn't been innovated. It hadn't had like constant servicing the fans, so to speak, that it should have. And then Paradox came in and said, stand aside, hold my beer, let me show you how it's done. And City Skyline has been nothing but packs and encouraging the mod world and just stuff after stuff after stuff, and became this massive rabbit hole full of content that you could absolutely dive deep into. Sims doesn't have that problem. Granted, Sims fans are not incredibly happy with what EA has provided for them. Most recently, a lot of the packs, the flavor packs, they went in and did a poll of what flavor packs, rank these flavor packs of what you would like to see coming to us, and it's like Star Wars and vampires and all stuff. And the ones that were actually the least wanted by the fans were the ones that actually got made, which means that they'd already had been making, I think it was a Star Wars pack. They'd already been making a Star Wars pack, and they just asked, and then of course they were hoping everybody would say, "We want Star Wars," and they didn't. And so they've unintentionally ended up being completely tone deaf to the community. But nonetheless, EA has been very regularly for a very long time, constantly pumping out new crap for Sims, and people have been buying it. So I don't know that you are going. I mean, wouldn't they do an analysis of how much it would cost you to own everything in The Sims 4? And it was some like absurd amount, like
I would believe
$1,000.
that they've put out so much.
Right, and we're not talking about the
that.
fan stuff, just the stuff that they've put out. It's like $1,000, like 60, an obscene amount of money. People that like The Sims probably will not go to Life by You because they've already invested so much money into Sims. They won't in their hearts abandon it, because if they do, they've lost that money. You didn't have that problem with SimCity. People would pick up and leave and go to City Skyline anytime. And it also took a really long time for City Skyline to build its fan base. A really long time. like years and years and years. So it's not going to be a one-to-one kind of like this is just like Sim City and City Skylines. This is gonna be a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm very interested to see what they have. I'm also very scared about it's Paradox making The Sims. That's that I am that those are words to me that put the cold, hard fear for my life and my money. Those are not happy words. I mean, they're happy words for me, but they're also incredibly dangerous words to put together for me. So we'll see.
Well, until March 20th, you can live in the peace of ignorance.
Yeah. Was it Chinnerbox says Daisy is another good stream to watch for stories and RPG. Days. Okay, I will watch for that as well.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
role playing.
Daisy, the zombie one.
Oh, Daisy. Oh, okay.
I'm impressed that's still going.
Yeah, I can see it. But there's something about the Rust adventures, especially Wiljum. They do the people that are good Rust content creators are really good Rust content creators. And won't lie, it all started with Komomo, who is a Rust moderator, and he gets on Twitch and live streams him catching and torturing cheaters. And then he condenses it down for YouTube of like essentially making cheaters mad so that they never come back. And it started with that. It just ended up me discovering Wiljum and me discovering Sebi K, me discovering, there's a couple of other people that I watch that make Rust traps that are hilarious. And AC Lamplighters League is the one to be excited about. Harebrained Schemes?
I was looking at that, and that's kind of like an Indiana Jones / XCOM game that Paradox is publishing. But another really well-regarded developer is making it. Yeah, it's a kind of real-time sneaking and then turn-based combat about adventurers trying to beat a secret society to, ancient buried treasure. Which is
that
cool.
almost sounds Harry Potter-esque.
I guess, but there's no magic.
Yeah. Have you played the Hogwarts Legacy?
No. I might pick it up.
Heard? I've heard.
I might pick it up sometime.
Chris got Hogwarts Legacy, and he says
Yeah.
it's incredible.
I've
Chris
heard
also
pretty good
tends to
things
like
about
games that everybody else hates.
I mean, I've heard pretty good things about it. I've heard it's a good open world adventure game.
This is looking really cool. I'm kind of okay with this. Yeah, it feels very much Indiana Jones, especially this particular room. And the tower at the end of the world. Yeah. Okay, I'm in. Very XCOM.
Yeah.
Very XCOM. But I'm into it. All right. So yes, I agree. I'm excited about that. All right. So thanks for the heads up on that. Genderbox says all the Sims 4 DLC is currently 964 Australian dollars on sale.
Wow.
That's I think honestly that is going to be the biggest obstacle that Paradox has to Life by You is the already existing fan base is the most likely fan base are going to be people that are already deeply invested, very literally invested into Sims 4 that are going to be very hesitant to abandon that investment. It's the title killer for Sims 5. That's what it would be.
Mm.
And maybe that's maybe they planned that is that it's like people are going to be with Sims 4 that will give us enough time to actually turn Life by You into a full-fledged game. Like the year or two it's going to need to really kind of tweak that game to perfection so that when Sims 5 comes out and people now can make a decision of, do I want to invest in Sims 5? They go, actually, Life by You is a much better game.
Yeah, because EA has not put out a sim game for a long, long time. They've
No.
kind of gotten out of that business.
No, they abandoned that for FIFA.
Sports.
They would rather not put out anything for Sims, which is a shame because they kind of were like the king of the Sims until they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
AC Races Hairbrain Schemes is known for the great Shadowrun and BattleTech games. I'm not familiar with either one of those. Are you, Nick?
I've heard both of those.
Okay.
Both of them are very well regarded. I've wanted to try BattleTech, but just kind of never pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah. Sun, not full sun, but at least brighter than dark clouds and rain.
Slight sun, a little bit of sun.
You know, a brighter sky than I've seen in probably 3 days. All right, so my next item is what do we got? What do we got? Let's see. Talked about Starfield. Here's you know, it's been a while since we've had this. Actually, no, it's been less than it's been a week. Let's see. Do we have it? Yeah, here it is. This week in the Activision Blizzard shit show, which has now turned into the Activision Blizzard Microsoft shit show.
the ABMS?
ABMS, yeah, I guess so. ABXB. Activision Blizzard Xbox.
Okay, I like that. ABXB.
So Sony, as we've talked about, that this has to pass the smell test. The sale, the purchased by Microsoft of Activision Blizzard has to pass the smell test with multiple agencies in multiple countries. And everybody is sort of waiting for the first country to say no. And then that's, and until then, Sony is creating all of these different arguments and throwing everything against the wall to see which one actually makes any of these government organizations, these government agencies go, yeah, okay, maybe we're not okay with that. And once that happens, then they're going to use that argument for everybody. I say the strongest concerns by a governmental regulatory agency has come from the UK's Competition and Market Authority, the CMA, that has already indicated it is very hesitant over this allowing this sale. And they were the ones that actually laid down the law that either Sony has to sell off Call of Duty, or there were a couple of other conditions that they could make in order to appease them and to allow them to feel like maybe it was okay to let this go through. Sony has not stopped with arguments, kind of piling on. The latest one being, and it's kind of stupid, but it also kind of is not stupid. It's like just plausible. It's a conspiracy theory and just plausible enough to maybe make sense.
It's an argument that like Microsoft doesn't have to consciously do it, but they can do it through other more subtle ways.
Right. And it would presuppose that Microsoft would be that shitty and that it wouldn't shoot themselves in the foot anyway. But then again, we're talking about corporations. There's no depth they won't sink to. Sony said that they're worried that Microsoft would intentionally release a subpar version for future Call of Duties on PlayStation if Sony owned Activision Blizzard. Now, this was
Microsoft owned.
Microsoft owned Activision Blizzard. So this was reported by The Verge. And Sony also presupposed that Microsoft could raise the price of Call of Duty or only make it available through Game Pass. But it's mainly concerned that Xbox would purposely put out either a buggy or a buggy version of Call of Duty, or one that was incomplete or error prone or slow, or that there was some flaw within the game itself that would make it not run as well on PlayStation, so that consumers would go, yeah, I'll buy the Xbox one because, at least it doesn't have it's not broken like the PlayStation version. So this was their most latest argument they're throwing out to see if anybody would buy
And
it.
the thing is, it's dumb because Microsoft isn't going to purposely put a bug in the PlayStation version of the game that breaks it.
No,
But what they
They
could
could.
do, no,
They could.
but they could, but they wouldn't. But what they could do is just, hey, we're going to prioritize fixing a bug on the Xbox version.
Right.
Because we've all seen ports that come out that are really bad.
Mhm.
Just like last week, Wo Long came out and the PC version was really messed up. Because, hey, we didn't prioritize the PC the way we did the consoles.
Mhm.
That's all you got to do.
Prioritization is a valid excuse for why one version does better than the other.
And there are plenty of examples throughout the history of gaming of something coming out on Xbox or PlayStation and being worse on one version or another, being worse on one console or another.
Mhm.
I think Skyrim famously on PS3 ran awful. And it took a long time for that to get fixed. Whereas on
So,
Xbox 360,
yeah,
it ran a whole lot better.
Cyberpunk 2077 was bad, but it was unplayable on consoles and
Yeah.
absolutely unplayable on the Xbox.
Yeah, but on PC, because that's what they
It was
prioritized.
right. It wasn't good, but it was not as bad. It was
So
somewhat playable.
it's like the point is maybe you have an argument that in theory they could prioritize the Xbox and that would be to the detriment of PlayStation, but also you're reaching.
Yeah,
Y-
it is.
you're
It's a
reaching.
bit of a reach. It's a reach. So this is what their quote was. These strategies could include raising the price of Call of Duty on PlayStation, degrading the quality and performance of Call of Duty on PlayStation compared to Xbox, degrading Call of Duty to ignore PlayStation specific features like controller haptics, not prioritizing investment in such features, restricting, degrading, or not prioritizing investment in the multiplayer experience on PlayStation, making Call of Duty only available on Game Pass. So this document further states that Microsoft, quote, might release a PlayStation version of Call of Duty where bugs and errors emerge only on the game's final level or after later updates. Even if such degradations could be swiftly detected, any remedy would come too late, which by the time the gaming community would have lost confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue for Call of Duty. Not wrong. Is it
Yes.
right? Probably not, but it's not wrong. It's a really good conspiracy theory because it's just enough truth where
What
it
what
might be
works
possible.
if I don't know if this is his plan, but it works really well as long-term psychological warfare because saying this out loud basically means if the deal goes through and at any point in the future, if there's any bug on PlayStation that's not on Xbox,
Everybody's gonna go.
he could go, "Oh, you did this on purpose. This is a
Or
conspiracy.
this this being said out loud, if this goes through and when a Call of Duty comes out for Xbox or PlayStation and someone has a choice, which one do you think you're going to buy? I'm going to say it's self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's one of those like they call political dirty tricks. Like if you want to sabotage a candidate who's running for, you're both running for a seat and you want to sabotage the other guy, is you hire a polling firm to call everybody in town that says, what do you think of Bob Jones as a candidate who you're running against Bob Jones? What do you think of Bob Jones as a candidate? Well, I really like Bob Jones. Bob Jones, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Bob Jones? I'd say about like an 8 or 9. Would knowing that Bob Jones is a pedophile change your opinion of Bob Jones? And they'd be go like, yes. Is he a pedophile? Like, no, we're not saying that. But if he were, would that change your opinion? And instantly, it's enough. It's enough for people to go, is he? Is he? So yeah, it's a political dirty trick. And it's kind of like, just by saying it now, it's in everybody's head. Like, would they? Like, if I'm gonna spend money on I'm not gonna lie, if I'm gonna spend money on a Call of Duty right now, and Microsoft owned them, now that idea is in my head, I'll be like, yeah, I'll probably buy the Xbox version.
Maybe I should get the Xbox One just to be safe.
Just to be safe. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get the Xbox version. So yeah, they went on. Indeed, as Modern Warfare 2 attests, Call of Duty is most often purchased in the first few weeks of release. If it became known that this game's performance on PlayStation was worse than Xbox, Call of Duty gamers could decide to switch to Xbox for fear of playing their favorite game at a second class or less competitive venue. In other words, what I just said, just the suspicion that might be the case is enough to drive people there. Now, also connected to this is that that there was offers by Xbox to, like, try to make it, paste it over with Sony, like, hey, we will give you Call of Duty, we will sign a contract that for the next decade Call of Duty will be available to you. We're gonna do whatever, trying to appease Sony. So this was according to I forget who it was, somebody within Sony's upper echelon, they were asked about these concessions that Microsoft was willing to take and make, and would that at all be something that Sony would be interested in. And this guy said, quote, Microsoft offered Sony, the dominant console leader for well over a decade with an 80% market share, a 10-year agreement for far better terms than Sony would get from Activision. Microsoft also offered Sony guaranteed long-term access to Call of Duty, but they keep refusing. Why? The CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment answered the question in Brussels. In his words, I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger. So, yeah. Shots were fired. Shots have been fired. No retreat, no surrender. They're going for blood. Chunderbox says, wouldn't be a problem if PlayStation let Game Pass run on its system. Is that Microsoft's ultimate goal?
I mean, I don't know.
I can't imagine in any world where Microsoft would think that would be possible.
They probably don't want it on a PlayStation, but they want it on your TV. They want it on your Roku app, on your Amazon Fire Stick.
Samsung Smart TV. It's true. Absolutely.
Use the xCloud streaming from there. Like that's their goal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. To turn, instead of like live service games, it's like a live service console. All games, live service.
They want Game Pass to be Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it sort of is right now.
Which is a good idea.
Back when Netflix was good and awesome, when we loved it because it was cheap.
That's why you got to be really fucking careful about Game Pass, because the Netflix model is not particularly sustainable. Like, Netflix is lucky it's such a global dominator because it has so much debt. It just racks up the debt each year to churn out as much content as possible.
I wonder how much money was Netflix having SVB?
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of freaking companies that had a lot of money in SVB, and they have absolutely no desire at this point or reason to tell you that.
Yes. Yeah.
They do not want you to know how much money they lost, because their stock would go absolutely plummeting. So
I mean,
the
you could also say that
longer that they can keep that quiet, they will.
every tech company you can ask that about now, and we'll see in the coming weeks.
Yep. Yep.
Trendbox also asked, and I can't highlight it because I'm holding a cat. The console is sold at a loss these days. It's all about the games, isn't it? Which, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
The
Well,
games and the
that was, I
services.
think, in pairing with this comment. It wouldn't be a problem if PlayStation let Game Pass run on the system. Is that what's Microsoft's ultimate goal? The consoles are sold at a loss these days. It's all about the games, isn't it?
Yeah. Sony takes a cut of all the game sales on its platform and all the microtransactions on its platform.
Mm-hmm. But I
And
mean, it might be in Sony's best interest to allow Game Pass on its console, although Microsoft would never let them have it either.
except the question then is like how much of a cut?
Does
Because if
Microsoft take?
Game Pass is on PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft would still take a cut of any microtransactions sold through there, right? Because it's going through Game Pass.
Right.
But then Sony would also take a cut.
Right. So do you want 50% of everything or 100% of nothing?
So then, yeah, as a developer, why would I want my Game Pass game, to be on the other platform? Because then there's just double dipping cuts.
Yeah.
So that would be dumb.
It would be a hot mess. It would be devastating to the entire industry if that happened. Anyway, all right. Next item. Got any? I think I have a couple more.
Yeah, I got a couple more. This is just a easy, simple story. March 10th is Mario Day because MARIO is like 10.
Oh, okay.
So as part of Mario Day, there are a bunch of
Like May the
Mario
4th.
deals. And this includes basically sales on a lot of Nintendo games that often never go on sale.
Oh,
So,
like what?
like Mario Odyssey,
Okay.
Mario and Rabbids, Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope, Super Mario Battle 3D World, some Mario Karts, basically any Mario Party, any Mario game released in the last 5 years is on sale. And some of them are pretty good. Sparks of Hope specifically is 50%. So it's 30
Wow.
when it's usually 60, which again, considering it's a Nintendo game, these things
Yeah.
never go on sale. So if you have been wanting to play a Mario platformer, now is the time to jump in, because now is the time to buy the game. Even if you're not going to play it right away, now is the time to pick it up because it's cheaper than it will be for like the next 12
Until
months.
March
Until
10th,
the next
2024.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good idea. Thank you for having a nice, quick, easy story. Let's see. I'm gonna get something that is not a nice, quick, easy story. It's kind of funny, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay.
There's part of me that thinks it's wonderful. Part of me that it's like, I don't know. So, Escape from Tarkov. You're familiar with Escape from Tarkov, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Hardcore shooter. So, and it's live service. One of the problems with it is that there's a lot of cheating, like Rust, like any of these live games, these multiplayer live service games. A ton of cheaters. And of course, cheaters really, really wreck the game for everybody. And so it's a constant effort to try and get them, EAC banned and all that other stuff. Well, Battlestate Games, the developer of Tarkov, went through and, it's a constant state of just like cleaning up, finding cheaters, cleaning them, banning them. And that's a state for all of these games, except that Battlestate Games took it a step further in their most recent banning of 4,000 players. They decided to actually put out, after they banned over 4,000 alleged cheaters from Tarkov, they shared the usernames of every alleged cheater it had banned in a Google spreadsheet on Twitter. And I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that it's like, oh, that's messed up. That's kind of messed up. But then again, they're cheaters.
I mean,
This isn't this is the usernames. It's like when you see that person in that game, you will know that person is a cheater and it's just started a whole new, like, it's not the usernames. So they said we've decided to resume the practice of sharing the information about large band waves done with the support of they use Battle Eye anti-cheat, not EAC. So throughout the weekend, over 4,000 cheaters were banned from Escape from Tarkov, according to this, well, the way the tweet read, with a link to the spreadsheet. And in talking with TechCrunch about the situation this week, Battlestate Games' Dmitry, I'm going to butcher this, Ogar Odinov stated, quote, "We want honest players to see the nicknames of cheaters, to know that justice has been served and the cheater who killed them in a raid has been punished or banned." It also noted that by TechCrunch, many other developers will declare news of bans. They never share the information of those who have been banned. So Escape from Tarkov, they took it a step further. So I don't know how I feel about that.
like,
But
so okay, there's a couple questions. This isn't really like a privacy issue because it's the usernames. It's the
Right.
one thing
They
that's
didn't
always
dox them or
public
anything.
facing. Yeah. Also, if these users have now been banned, their username is gone, right? Their username is banned. So if they make a new account and come back, it would be under a different name, right? This is basically like a retroactive.
I don't know
Who
if it's
was
their
cheating.
Steam username, or would it be their account name? Because that's two different things.
Yeah.
I know that from watching Komodo, is that they are able to track cheaters down that have had multiple different Rust accounts by their Steam names. And they just keep banning them by
Okay.
their Steam names.
If they mention the Steam profile name, like the Steam account name, I think
6,700 cheaters. Thank you very much.
I think that would be bigger, right? Just because that's not one you can just
Right.
I'm
You
gonna
can
make a
actually
new
hunt
one.
that person down in Steam and go cheater, you know,
Mhm.
pumpkin eater, whatever. Liar, pants on fire. Dirty cheater. Chatterbox says it's not available on Steam. Okay, so it's not a Steam account. It's actually is Tarkov. How do you get Tarkov? And it's not. I mean, do you have to go to their own page? I don't play Tarkov. I enjoy watching. Tarkov has a special place in my heart because right after Kevin passed away, I had no inclination to play anything, but I needed to distract myself. And I will always appreciate Chaos for this, is that he was playing Tarkov a lot at the time. And so he would play it and stream it on Discord for me to watch him play because it just got my mind off of my reality, which I desperately needed at that time. And so I enjoyed watching him play it, but I would never play it myself. That is so not my game. Like if I don't even like Battlefield, I really not gonna like this game. So Battle State Launcher is what you have to use. So I would imagine it is your Battle State user account, not your Tarkov user account.
I imagine
Which
if it's
means
run by
someone
them, it could be the same.
Yeah, which means I guess technically you could like, yeah, I don't know.
Either way, I approve of this.
You do. You don't have a problem with it?
No.
I'm torn. I'm a big fan of like privacy and that you don't.
Yes, but like I said, it's the username. It's the thing that is public facing right now.
Right. But how do you ever recover? Which means that and that's what I guess I have a problem with, is that somebody decides to cheat, and I've watched enough of these Rust videos that it's usually a young kid. They're like, I just got bored with the game, or I suck at the game and I needed something to help me. And you do it once and you're done. You are done. And there's no redemption. And I don't know how I feel about no redemption.
That you just have to. Chunderbox says it's an expensive game to rebuy, but you just rebuy it.
Well, I'm sure
You'll have to do
I'm
that.
assuming that there's used accounts like Rust that you can buy online, right? I mean, that's a big thing on Rust is selling accounts. People usually buy them for, like anywhere from a couple dollars to like $20, depending on how many times they've been used by other people and resold. Vice says, I watched a video on Tarkov cheating a while ago. Seems it was so bad they even had like their own kind of sign language of the game and whatnot. Like the cheaters have their own sign language, or that people within the game have a sign language to say this guy's a cheater.
Either way, again, I don't feel bad. Like, even if it's just a dumb kid making a dumb mistake, you gotta have them face consequences for the dumb mistake. Otherwise, they'll just do it again.
Yeah. Oh, all right. There he is. There he is. Now we're gonna get the insight. Chaos, do you want to get in and give us an insight on this Tarkov naming of cheaters? And
yeah, Vice clarified that the cheaters had their own sign language.
Oh, really? It's that organized. Holy crap.
You see, if it's that organized, I don't feel like it's a 14-year-old kid making a mistake. No, that's a fucking group. They have sign language. That's an organization.
They're so widespread that they have their own system to interact with Wiggles, knowing they could see each other through half the map. Yeah. Oh. Like, hey, you're a cheater. I'm a cheater too.
Yeah, no. All of them go to hell.
Yeah, he says, but I might have to quit. That's fine. If you want to come in and give us like insight from somebody who actually plays Tarkov, as opposed to me who watches it but hasn't watched it since you played it 2 years ago. There we go. He does say maybe it's anti-Russian sentiment, because I guess
is it a Russian developed game?
I want to say yes. I want to say.
Yeah, that's what it's coming from. It's just my anti-Russian sensibilities. That's why I say screw the cheaters.
Oh, he needs an invite. All right, I'll send you one right now. We're mailing you to your Hotmail, I'm assuming. Oh, sorry, my mail system is never worked right since there we go. Andrew Smith. I'm going to send it to your GameHounds. Actually, if there's another one. Yeah, my email system has never worked right ever since I broke it. Trying to fix it. And Rue. Yeah, I got to do something about my mail account. It's just all bad. I do not want to send it. There we go. Gotcha. Sending it now. All right. Yeah. Ever since I tried to fix my computer by doing really dumb things, yeah, my mail has never worked properly. Kind of sucks. All right. Yeah, you got your invite. We'll see you in here in a second. Yeah, Chenderbox says, yeah, it is Russian developed. I thought so. I forgot that they were Russian, but once you said that, I'm like, yeah. But either way, even in Rust, like if you're caught cheating, you've got, I mean, it's a period of time. You can come back, but it has to be like something like a year. You can come back in a year. That's long enough that you wouldn't want to do it, but at the same time, it allows you a certain level of redemption. Even people that have been banned for Rust once, there are other servers that they can play on that allow people that have bans to play. They just can't play on the ones that have the servers have the terms of service, or that says we don't allow people on here with bans. So there is a choice. It's just puts all the band people all in the same place. They can all cheat against each other. News, PUBG developers are creating an Escape from Tarkov rival. That doesn't surprise me.
I think the game, like the structure of that game, sounds really neat. I would like to play it sometime.
I don't think you would.
I would like to try it sometime.
It's I mean it's really about inventory management game that's wrapped in a shooter.
I like inventory management.
Yeah, no,
I even wrote a blog post years ago defending inventory management.
You would not do well because you can't hoard. You cannot hoard in
Yes,
Tarkov.
you can. You just never take your good guns with you.
No, like there's not. No, you cannot hoard stuff. It just doesn't.
No,
hoard.
but isn't that the way it works? Is like like if I find a pistol and I get to the exit, that pistol's mine.
Yes,
and like I could either bring it with me into the next go, or I could keep it in my base.
Yeah, no. Yes, you can keep it in your base, but
keep it
you
in my
have
base.
a limited amount of inventory in your base. So you're constantly putting backpacks inside of backpacks inside of backpacks in order to keep your stuff.
But see, that's even better, because that means that if I get a better gun, then I'm going to finally take that pistol with me and use it for something else.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes, we can hear you.
You need to sort Nick out on that one.
Okay, sorry. I was messing with my audio. It was kind of hard to hear you guys. I don't want to have any feedback.
No, you're coming in actually super clear.
Okay, so what have you said so far? So I've been following this pretty much since the start.
Oh, okay, so a bunch of cheaters got listed on Twitter, and I approve of it. Edie's unsure.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, there's part of me that's like, yes, and then there's other part of me that's like, I don't know how I feel about that.
How do you feel about this then? After they named and shamed them, which my opinion on that is fine, someone went back and found out it was a Twitch streamer had been banned. And it wasn't like he wasn't a massive one, but he had video clips of what had happened. And when he got banned, and then he posted his video clip of how it looked on his screen, and it was just desync. So his was a false ban. And he got shamed for it.
That's the other. I almost said something but with Rust, frequently they're always saying, I'm not cheating. It's like, yeah, no, you are. You're definitely cheating. So yeah, they're alleged cheaters. They're not for sure cheaters.
I've seen the video clip of both sides of this. The person who reported it, it looked like cheating. It looked like he walked in and he just dropped him without even aiming. But then you see the Twitch person's side of things. He literally runs in and just aims at him and drops him. It was quick, but it was perfectly natural. But yeah, he got caught up in the ban. Right. So do you want the full story or just kind of an abridged version?
Well,
full story. If you've got time for the full story,
also,
for the full story.
Also, I'm gonna make a stand. I still approve of it. You know what? The greater good. It's the greater good.
No, you didn't go there.
Look, it's this.
It is okay
what I'm going,
to kill an innocent man just to make sure that all the murderers are gone.
I mean, look, the trolley problem.
Yes.
Kill that one guy.
He got unbanned. All right. He didn't get unbanned.
Kill that one guy, unless the exception, I know that person and I like that person. Then 100%.
If you know him and hate him.
Then 100% kill the 5 other people. Easy. The trolley problem, not an issue. It's solved.
Have you guys already been on for 3 hours?
We have.
That's what the timer says.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay. Perfect is not the enemy of good. This is still a good thing, even if it's not perfect. That doesn't change the fact that I think it's good to generally make cheaters public.
Let's hear the full story from Andrew and see if that changes.
All right. So what had happened, and this is in response. So a YouTuber and Twitch streamer made a video, and what he did was he downloaded cheats. He set very strict rules for himself that he would not kill anyone. It'd be a fresh account. and like he wouldn't do anything to like impede people. Okay, and he just wanted to see like what he could see with this, and it was a very easy cheat package. Like he literally joined a Discord and had cheats within 5 minutes.
Okay.
And the cheat had been up and running for over 2 years at that point. So understand how easy this was to get for him, and like how long it had been up. That's its own problem, I think.
Right.
So he gets these cheats and he makes a video. And as he's going through, he's having a lot of trouble determining if somebody's cheating. Because you don't really know. I mean, with these cheats, you have ESP, which means you can see people through walls, and you can see their KD. So if someone has like a 10 kill death ratio in Tarkov, odds are good that they're probably cheating. Like the higher their KD, like that's not normal for a game like Tarkov.
Right.
But you couldn't prove it. So as he's going through the game, he sees somebody he's a couple floors down. He's crouching. He has no real gear on, so he's completely quiet. And he decides to wiggle. He sees the guy, and wiggling is where you move back and forth because you can lean. Yeah, exactly. And then this other person's looking at him, and he starts wiggling. And this confirms to him that person has ESP as well. He's like, oh shit, that's crazy. So for the next part of his video, by the way, his name's Goat, G-O-A-T, like it's G0-A-T, and he's the one who did this video. It blew up in part because it's a good video, and it really like was important to the Tarkov community, but it kind of got like leaked a little early on Linus Tech Tips WAN show, which is a huge show. So this thing went like off the rails very quickly. But for the second half of the video, if you're interested in this, go watch the video. Anytime he suspected somebody of cheating, he tried to wiggle. And it worked quite a few times. Not only that, he would just follow around suspected cheaters, like just outside of the range that they shouldn't be able to tell that they're there if they're not making a lot of noise, but enough that they'll see them and they'll get annoyed, because people who cheat in Tarkov don't cheat in a way most of the time to ruin people's fun. That'll get you banned super quickly, so they're a little bit more casual about it, and often they will avoid senseless killing if they can. Because they don't want that. Unless you're going to grab something that they want, they won't kill you. So he does this, and he goes through all of his games, trying to confirm as many cheaters as he can. He tries to talk to them when he gets the chance, see if they'll confirm it, like over voice, stuff like that. Like on the video right now, this person knows he's there. He just has his melee weapon out, and he's just following him. He's trying to get him to rage, kill him. Like that's the whole goal of this interaction. He did 125 raids, and he wasn't super scientific about this. He's mostly his general impressions, and he recorded all of them, but he didn't post them, obviously. And he is pretty confident that in 60% of them he found a cheater.
Okay, so in 60% of games that he joined,
yeah, 125 raids.
So it just pointed out that cheating is just rampant within Tarkov.
And this has a lot of effects. Like Tarkov is a special beast in that it's so time intensive, like setting up your gear, going into a raid, trying to find stuff, losing said gear. Like all of that is just time that you'll never get back. So knowing that there's so many cheaters is really rough, but also knowing that everyone, the rage, oh, that guy was cheating, right? Mm-hmm. Most people would go, okay, probably not. Or at least like if you have a friend there, it's like, no, he was just good. He got lucky, whatever. In Tarkov, this makes it really feel like whenever I die, I have to question it.
Mm-hmm.
Did I kill him? Or did he kill me because he was cheating or because it was fair? And that ruins the game in such a way. It's a loss of innocence, really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, it poisons the well so that people that aren't cheating don't feel any want or desire to actually play the game, because you can't win unless you cheat. If you go
Yeah.
60% of it of games have cheaters in them, it means that why would I bother to play the game straight when it's 100% cheaters? Cheating becomes part of playing the game.
yeah,
Mhm.
and
Has to.
like it's not all aimbot, like just ESP, right?
Mhm.
Like seeing people through walls.
Right.
Well,
That's
it's a
enough
game
to
like
give you such a
Tarkov.
stupid advantage.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people might just do that because they want to avoid wasting their time. But that still leaves you, if you're playing fair, to be in a pretty shit spot.
Yeah,
Right.
if you know where all the people are, you can go and scavenge to your heart's content safely without getting, and then extract with whatever you get without worrying about dying.
Exactly. So like this game encourages a low level of cheating kind of across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of that said, we'll go back to the wiggle. So when he figured out that he could wiggle at people, which used to be Tarkov code for, hey, I don't want to fight, right?
Mhm.
Like
Right.
before they had voice, it was, hey, I'm peaceful, please don't kill me. It has been co-opted by cheaters so that when a cheater sees you wiggling, like they know you're looking at them and they wiggle,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm not going to try to engage this person because this person has cheats too.
Right.
It's not because like it's a brotherhood of cheating. It's I have the advantage because I'm cheating, but I lose that advantage when someone else cheats.
Right.
So I'm not going to waste my time potentially trying to take out another cheater.
Right.
And this led to kind of an agreement in the game where cheaters typically don't try to engage each other. But what also happened, he found out, was since you know their name, you can see their nameplate on their ESP,
Mm-hmm.
cheaters would friend other cheaters at a rate that was staggering. Because you knew who they were, you could send them a message, you could chat with them, and you both knew you were doing this thing. Whereas like normal players never get that.
Right.
Because the only time you know someone else's name is either if they give it to you over voice, which just doesn't happen often, or after you kill them or are killed by them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cheaters after the game would message you and be like, hey, dude, do you want to play together?
Right. So you have whole like teams of cheaters. that were playing
Exactly.
together.
This leads to a culture that it was so prevalent that there is a cheater culture underneath the Tarkov culture that is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And it taints that well even more. Right?
So it was truly, truly destroying the game.
So if it's so
yes.
common, how has the developer not like blocked this?
Nikita,
Have they tried?
the lead developer of Tarkov, is kind of very tight-lipped for the most part. And he's done some damage control since then. His first Reddit post was literally a copy paste from 3 years ago about cheating, and that kind of pissed a lot of people off. Because you have to understand, this video was very divisive amongst the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot of Twitch streamers who play Tarkov who were given this video while on stream and told to watch it. That's really hard when your money comes from this game. Basically, it's a video shitting on your income.
Right.
But they had a bunch of like...
But then I would think that a streamer would like this video, or at least like...
It does nothing good for them. Because I think about it from their position. You had a lot of streamers who did like speak out about this, or like, "Hey, this is a good video. Don't do it again." Like Pesley, one of the biggest content creators for the game, was like, "This is great, but if anyone does this now afterwards, you are just content farming.
Right.
Don't do this again."
Right.
This was good once to like bring attention to it. But on the flip side of this, you have streamers who, anyone who's watching you who might get into the game, because streamers have a very close relationship with BSG, Battlestate Games, the people who make Tarkov.
Mhm.
So this puts them in a rough spot where they can't disparage the game without directly offending the people who feed them.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then on top of that, it puts your community in a negative mindset because every time you die, people are going to be like, "Oh, that's a cheater," which could lead to massive report spams, etc. Two, you're going to have people who fall out of the game because they don't want to watch a game with a bunch of cheaters, so you're going to lose viewers,
Right.
which is directly out of your pocket. Like, and
Or
then
if you are any good at the game, then it's going to have to be assumed that you're cheating because you can't be good at the game unless you cheat.
and that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Then you throw in that there's going to be less honest players after this because the honest players are going to leave, so you're left with more cheaters. And then finally, there's the idea that this promotes cheats by saying, "Hey, look at how easy this was to do," so more people are going to do it.
Right.
Update to that, apparently, the people who made that cheat in particular got arrested in China. So that cheat in particular is down that he used. But it took 3 years, and I don't think it was related to Battlestate Games. They got arrested in China, like, separate of this.
For something else?
Yes.
Huh.
Curious to know what that would be.
Yeah, all those arguments seem like very bad arguments against the video. It's like, it's the arguments of people going, "Why did you expose this corruption? We were all benefiting from it."
Well,
But it's
it's
like, but the average player wasn't.
yeah, no, I mean, as a streamer, this puts you in a tight spot, is all. Where this is literally the game that feeds you, because streamers can't just swap games. It's not
Yeah,
that easy. You will lose a large portion of your audience. I mean, Edie changing times of your podcast, right? And how much
Yeah,
of a detrimental effect that can have. Now
absolutely.
imagine if your entire community is Tarkov players and you lose that from this video. Even if they agree with the video, they have to talk the video down.
Right.
For the most part. I mean, again, a lot of people didn't. But
It's a
the point being that it was
fascinating
very divisive.
study in streamer, developer, and audience politics.
Yes.
Because
anything, it
it's like,
shows-
does everybody like cheaters? No, everybody hates cheaters, but you can't come out and say that just that way because of this. But then you can't agree with it because you don't want to piss off the developer, but you can't not agree with it because you don't want to piss off the audience, and you can't just move to another. It's a really interesting like stew of just
I think it really shows that
drama.
Streamers have a closer relationship with developers than I think a lot of average people expect. Like,
Especially indie games like this.
Yeah, BSG has a particular content like policy where they put streamer items into the game.
okay, yeah. Like there's a
Right.
whole, "Oh, I'm gonna watch a streamer. I don't trust the mainstream game coverage. I trust these streamers." But no, the streamers like have a direct relationship with the publisher. They're more of an arm of the developer and publisher than anyone writing on a website does.
Streamers have probably done more for marketing that game than anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, so I forget where this started. Because this
It
is
started about the naming and shaming, about how
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
I'm a little like, meh. I mean, I don't hate it, but then there's a part of me that's like, is this okay? And the fact that there was somebody in there that wasn't cheating that got named and shamed.
And he's only lucky because he was recording at the time that he
Right.
was able to fight this.
Right.
Now,
He's just because he's a streamer. If you weren't a streamer and you weren't recording,
yeah. And that's mostly backstory. Okay, so the naming and shaming has happened before, and then they stopped it. They brought it back in response to this cheating talk to make basically people feel good. I'm of the mind that it is not, I don't know, not that it's not, it's more cathartic than it is useful as a thing. Because if you get caught cheating, unless you're somebody, you just make a new account. Like no one gives a shit. And I know personally of a cheater who makes his own cheats that he'll never get caught. And I know this person from a different person. Like it's not somebody I interacted with, and I stayed away for that exact reason. But they make their own cheats, and they will probably never be punished for this. That being said, so yeah, they did the naming and shaming part. What people kind of understand about Battlestate games and their anti-cheat is it's kind of ass. It's not very good, and people don't know if they're putting the right effort into it. And the contrast to this is there's a game, a free-to-play game called The Final Frontier.
Okay.
Right? It's a free-to-play looter extraction game. 1 second.
Okay, this is a Final Frontier looter extraction game.
Yeah. It had a very bad cheating problem when it first started, right? It, like, almost every game was full of cheaters. And they knew that. And so between season 1 and season 2, they attacked it on multiple levels. And they have, for the most part, fixed it. The things they did were you got a message telling you that someone who killed you that you reported was banned. They added that you got your kit back that you died with if the person who killed you was a cheater that got banned. So you just got all of that gear back. And then if you were a suspected cheater, they put you, if you weren't a cheater and you were trusted and you played a lot of games fairly, you get put into a trusted lobby with other people who have that same level. So this made cheaters get put into essentially a cheater's lobby.
Okay.
Like on the sly. So you don't tell people like, hey, we know you're cheating. We just don't trust you. So we're going to put you in a shady lobby. Where if you played fairly for many games, you get put in trusted lobbies with other people who have played fairly.
So that would mean that they can detect the cheating.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's more like we can detect that you're probably not cheating.
Okay. So instead of detecting the cheaters, they detected the people that seemed to be playing fairly and promoted them into a special lobby. So it's more of rewarding
clean players,
playing clean players more than punishing the bad players.
Yes.
Okay.
This has obviously, and then they've worked very closely with the people who make BattleEye. They have a anti-cheat person on their team who will literally go out of their way to join Discords like the one that this person joined, and then report back to BattleEye or their internal like anti-cheat team and block it. Like something as simple as that.
They have people putting in the resources to combat cheating.
Exactly.
Which it doesn't seem like Tarkov is doing.
Correct. By season 3, the GOAT has done multiple follow-up videos to this. The first one was he talked to anti-cheat developer, and the anti-cheat developer mentioned that like if you use Windows Defender, which is the Windows security tool, there's like 4 settings that if you used, you could probably stop 70% of the cheating, the low-level cheating, the easy stuff. BattleEye doesn't do any of that.
Okay.
Then he went and talked to the people of the Final Frontier game, and they had said that they had pretty much handled, like, it's an ongoing fight, it never ends, but they have pretty much solved their cheating problem.
So
BattleEye,
that worked. And they've already got a system that they know actually reduces the amount of total cheaters in a game. It's that Tarkov is expressly not doing that.
oh, not expressly, because they haven't said that, but actions speak louder than words here.
Right.
Any of this stuff they could have implemented. At least it seems like they could have. If they could have actually done that, I don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't know what it's like to work with the Tarkov engine. But yeah, so Nikita did an AMA, which I never really looked into. And that never happens because Nikita doesn't talk to the plebs, the people. Going forward, Nikita said from the AMA apparently that there was a lot of good advice that could be very easily implemented, and it seems like they're trying to do something, but they need to take this problem seriously, because you have a lot of people who won't come back, who love the game and just refuse to play now, and it has put a black mark on Tarkov in a way that needs to be earned back. Like, that trust needs to be earned back. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole story with Tarkov.
Fascinating. This whole thing going down. And I just thought it was about naming and shaming, and there's just so much more to it and so much more nuanced.
Yeah.
But also the
it's pretty massive.
frustration of a developer that doesn't communicate these things and the issues that come with that.
Right. Mind you, this game has been in development for 5 years with active, essentially playtesting with the community. Right. So it is not what I would call new, but we've reached kind of a critical point where they need to do something about it, because this game's design facilitates cheating. Cheating with Apex, you win. Congratulations. You're done. Like, that round's over. Everyone moves on. Apex, or not Apex, but Tarkov, it's much worse. It's the loadouts. It's the loading into the match. It's all of that. So people who would otherwise not cheat might start cheating, and it's just a massive problem.
Yeah, because from what I understand with Tarkov,
a repeat of what I said earlier, but yeah,
you do good in one game, that allows you to do good in the next game, which allows you to do better in the next game, and so cheating once creates this snowball effect where you can get better and better and better.
And then consider, like, on the opposite end of this. Say you have a game that feels great. You have this nice weapon that you either extracted with or you used in the round and you really like. You play a couple more, you do okay, you get out. You can develop a sentimental attachment to that gear in a way like, hey, this is my lucky set. And then you get aimbotted in your 4th game. And that's just gone. There's no way to get that back. You might be able to build the new weapon exactly how you had it, but even then there's this demoralization that you lost it to a cheater, like not even in a fair fight. Yeah.
So then, again, this sounds to me like all of this is good, if only because it puts pressure on Tarkov to actually do something.
The general consensus is this will hopefully move things in the right direction. Like I said, they're already changing certain things in the game to make cheating less profitable. I've heard that they're going to change it so that you can't barter on the flea market, which is like a player-to-player trading board, for items anymore, which was a way for cheaters to go in, get really good stuff, come out, and then trade it to somebody who would pay money to them for anything really, like for cheap that they wouldn't otherwise go for. That's not going to be a thing anymore.
Good.
Yeah, it's I was just looking this up because I remember, and I wish I could remember what the word was, but I've referred to this content creator before, Perrin, who used to do games, and then after the beginning of the Ukrainian war, started doing these weekly or every 10, 12 days of these like essentially PowerPoint presentation, deep diving into the war and what things mean, and it's a really good series of videos, and one of them was about the effects of Russia, or the effects of endemic corruption within the military, the Russian military, any military, but especially with regards to Russia, especially at the beginning of the war, because of course all of their machines were all screwed up, and things that were supposed to be fixed weren't fixed. Equipment that's supposed to be there isn't there, and I wish I could remember the word, but there was a word or phrase that he used that meant in Russia was just like this word that means the endemic corruption that is just part of daily life. It's just, that's the way things are. It essentially means like, oh yeah, it's just but I think that it's a word in Persian is called bakshish. Maybe the one that they also use in Russia. It means like bakshish. It's just the way things are. You
It
have
is
to
what it
be
is.
corrupt. You have to be corrupt because that is bakshish. It's the way it is this corruption. And it seems interesting that Tarkov, it's kind of bakshish, that it's a bakshish game. If you are not corrupt, you don't play the game. It becomes a part that's expected as part of the game, is that you download the game, you buy the game, you download the game, and then you download the cheats that go with the game, because otherwise you can't play the game. It becomes a mod, essentially.
And I don't know
that you have to use.
I don't necessarily know if that's the case. It's also worth noting that we are well into the wipe cycle right now, because you restart every so often.
Mhm.
Like they do full wipes. And when the wipe first starts, you have the least amount of cheaters to normal players, because you have people who play casually who come back for all the wipes, so the population's at its peak. And because of that, you're going to have a lot of clean players.
Right.
That being said, what happens later in the wipe is everyone who's casual or gets frustrated with the game leaves. So the people who put money into buying cheats, or they are cheating, are staying longer. And that dilutes the pool even more. So right. I necessarily don't know if it's about you have to be cheating, but it could go that way if it doesn't. People just aren't going to play it. The cheating population will never be at a point where they could sustain a game.
Right.
And the people who do sustain the game will leave.
Right. Now, 4,000 players, is that, in your opinion, a significant amount of the population? And do you think that represents a good chunk of the amount of cheaters that are still in the game?
I'd say no.
Okay.
I mean, it is a large number, but I'm uncertain if that number means much, to be fair. Because like I said, you just go buy a new account, right?
So the shaming really doesn't do anything.
If you're a cheater, it doesn't matter.
Right. All it does is it gives a false face. The way what was the words that they described? We have decided to resume the practice of shaming large bands throughout the weekend. Let's see, what was it? No, that was no. They wanted to. We want honest players to see the nicknames of cheaters, to know that justice has been served and the cheater who killed them in the rain has been punished and banned. But the thing is, that's a false sense. If A, you didn't get all the cheaters, and B, the cheaters don't really care if they're named and shamed, they're just going to come back. That doesn't. It's giving you a false sense of security that the game is clean.
Again, it's more catharsis than it is effective.
It's
And-
what do they call it? Theatrics.
yeah, and something in the video that he touches on is cheaters change their name all the time. Like every week they'll change their name because that's just the best choice.
Yeah.
And I do have to go, but I want to mention two more things that were kind of interesting. He found that people who bought the EOD, which is the Edge of Darkness edition, which is like the $100 edition, those are the people who cheated more. Like it wasn't just the people who bought the cheap version of the game. And two, there was actually a lot of people who would put TTT or TTV in their name, as in like meant to be a Twitch streamer, so that people were less likely to assume that that person was cheating because they were a streamer, but they didn't actually have a Twitch handle.
Right.
They just put that in their username to make other players think they're a streamer, which means, oh, they're streaming. Their thing is
They can't
public. They
possibly
can't
be
be cheating.
cheating.
Exactly.
Oh, that's clever.
Yes. But yeah, I have to head out. That's the long version.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you
you.
for the long version because it's absolutely fascinating.
But all right. Have a good one.
I will be watching it. Thanks, Chaos, for the insight. And yeah, Chandrabox has said player level matchmaking would help keep newer and casual players. I would imagine so, but at the same time, realizing how little I understand about the nuance and backstory of all of this makes me wonder. So thank you, Chaos, for all of that. So yeah, I did not expect that to be as deep as it went.
Makes me glad to hear that the PUBG guys are making an Escape from Tarkov-esque game.
Right.
Because maybe they'll do a better job of leveling the playing field.
Right. So anyway, moving right along because we're now going into our fourth hour.
I have a like semi-big news story and a fun, stupid news story.
Let's just do the first. Well, crap. Why'd you save the big news story to the end?
Okay.
Just do both of them, and I won't do what I was talking about. I was going to talk about Warframe, so that doesn't need to be. That doesn't need anything to talk about.
Nobody cares about Warframe.
Nobody cares about Warframe.
Okay. Well, so we all know that the worst thing a woman can do in Hollywood. Actually, I don't think I had a banner for this because I just found it. The worst thing a woman can do in Hollywood is get older.
Oh, yes. First thing a woman can do anywhere is get older. As someone who was in her 20s and now is in her 50s, the worst thing that a woman can do is turn 50.
That's also true for video games.
Really?
So, Resident Evil has an ongoing storyline across all of its games since the launch of the first one, right? It's told one continuous story. It's not a like super logical story. It doesn't really matter, but like one game is a sequel to the other, which is a sequel to the other. They haven't rebooted or retconned the universe yet.
Mm-hmm.
Leon is a character who was introduced in Resident Evil 2, and he has grown up as the games have gone on, right? He's gotten older. He's like a bodyguard for the president, all this stuff. Jill, one of the characters from Resident Evil 1, has also, gotten older, except that in one of the upcoming movies, Resident Evil Death Island has Jill running around with her brother. Sorry. Jill is running around with other Leon and Chris, other characters from the early games, doing Resident Evil shenanigans. The model that they're using for Jill is based off of the model in the Resident Evil 3 remake, which, used fancy new models to remake that old game to make Jill look like a very attractive young woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can do that with new consoles.
Right.
They're using that young model with the older characters. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why does Jill look so young? They have, I don't know if it's a retcon or whatever, but they've basically said that in the first game, she gets a little bit of the virus in her, a little bit of the T virus in her. That is why that has caused her to age slower. So in canon, they now have a reason to have this character just appear young and attractive for as long as they want. The guys can grow old and grizzled, but she gets to stay young. And they have a narrative justification for it.
Couldn't let gamers be involved with an older woman in a game. Nobody wants to see a 50-year-old.
Look, we put all this money into making the character model
Yep.
for Resident Evil the remake. We got to use this character model over again.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't let her get old
No.
and saggy and pot bellied. No. Yeah. I would like to comment further on this, but it is so too effing depressing for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's just a dumb yeah, she was infected. Oh, I guess infected in Resident Evil 3. Just like, okay, yeah, I see you're putting a lot of work into justifying like just basic obvious things. It's like, okay, you had to go and make a reason for it.
We are not consumable for the public. We just aren't. You don't want to see that. Sorry. We're here and we are your future and you're all going to be married to us eventually. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, next item.
So the big item is
that was the big. That wasn't the big. Why would you end on the big item, Nick?
Because you said it.
No, you start with the big item always above the fold. What's the big item?
Quote from Edie 5 minutes ago. Save the big one for the end.
No, I was making fun of you like, oh, there's typical Nick. Save the big one to the end.
I took that as a suggestion.
Guys, was I wrong? Was it not obvious that I thought that
I did not get any
freaking
sarcasm
sarcastic off of that? No,
I didn't get any sarcasm.
Never save the big anything to the end. Start with the big one. You're not telling a story, Nick. News and storytelling are different. This is why I cannot work with authors.
Anyways, the big story is that Epic is now going to allow people to self-publish games to the Epic Game Store. Previously, Epic had to allow every game individually. With the ability to self-publish, naturally, that could lead to a boom of games on the store, which is particularly big too, because Epic only takes 12% commission on sales, whereas Valve takes 30%. So that could lead to an even bigger boom of games. They also don't take any money from microtransactions. So any self-published game with microtransactions, the developer would get everything. There's a submission fee of $100.
That's doable.
But one of the things Epic worked to set up to do this is a kind of moderation pipeline. So that when you self-publish a game, it has to abide by stricter codes than what it does on Steam.
Codes as far as quality or content?
Content. Valve
Ookie Bookie Spelookie is going to Epic Game Store.
Valve doesn't have much limits on content.
Yeah.
But Epic singles out hateful or discriminatory content, pornography, products with adult-only ratings. And so they have they claim that they have a escalation process where if a game gets flagged as having one of those, it'll get reviewed and all that stuff. What they've also said, though, is that they're offering developers age ratings, like the ability to get rated through a partnership with the International Age Rating Coalition. And Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, believes that this could be a really differentiating thing for Epic because Steam is kind of a wild west.
It is.
Right?
It totally is.
And so to have like a consistent age rating across all of its games, including self-published games, like could be a big differentiating factor for Epic as opposed to Steam. So wait, what did Chunderbox clip your stupid lie of a sarcasm? Anyway,
That wasn't a stupid.
it wasn't sarcasm. It sounded like a suggestion.
Oh my god.
Anyways, so
Why
yes,
would I
that's
ever suggest that?
that is the big story that Epic is like this is coming to Epic.
Good. Ookie
Yeah.
Bookie Spelookie coming to the Epic Store near you. All right, so I'm going to hold off.
Okay,
my
and I guess
other
this
stuff.
also comes on the small heels of a story I'd read previously about Epic saying, "Hey, every month we offer a series of free games. We try to like have one big game each month.
Mhm.
We're going to continue to do this in 2023. Of just like, hey, we're going to continue to offer free games that aren't tied to like you having an account. They're just, hey, you now own this game on our platform."
Nice.
So they'll continue doing that while offering self-publishing, and it's interesting to see that the Epic Game Store kind of keeps growing and growing. And I think
it's the Luna
more and more
of game stores that it's just kind of cruising and just being there in case something else goes. Well, it's keeping Valve honest.
Yeah,
It's
and I
keeping
think
Valve
like
honest.
I think it's actually doing a good job of growing
Mhm.
and becoming like a legitimate competitor against Valve.
Right. It's what I'd hoped that Mixer would have been for Valve, because Twitch. Twitch is a perfect example of what happens when you have a monopoly and no competition.
Yeah.
And even if there was a small but just steady competitor to Twitch that people could leave for, even if it was smaller, Twitch would not be doing a lot of the things that it does. So yeah, I'm glad for Epic Game Store, and I'm also glad for the free games because they do give out some really, really good games.
Yeah.
If you don't check that out and you have a PC, you're a fool, because it's free games forever. That doesn't go away when it's
like you
no
may
longer available.
Yeah, you may as well just make an account and get some free games.
Download.
That's what I've done.
No reason not to.
I have the Epic account, and like every month I'm just like, yeah, that game is associated with my account.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So anything else before we close out this now going on 4-hour show?
I think I saw that Xbox is officially not going to have any presence at E3 show floor.
Yes, that was one of my stories that I'm not doing because it's going on a 4-hour show.
I mean, I don't think we need to say much more than that. I think that was pretty obvious. But they just confirmed it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anything else before we close out this 4-hour show, Nick?
Let me check.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there something wrong with your microphone? Okay. All right. Thanks, Nick. All right. So let's wait for it. Let's close this out.
I will never be silenced.
You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 672, and going on at 673 because it's so damn long. We recorded this on Sunday, March 12th, 2023. I've been Edie Sellers, with me is Nick Paula. If you ever want to get a hold of us, GameHounds.net is our website. GameHounds@gmail.com is our email. We record the show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and on YouTube. On Twitch, we are the GameHounds. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids. VIDS is in videos, all one word. We'd love to have you here. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. I could spend a bunch of time going over it, but you all know who you are. Thank you. And special thank you to Chaos for coming on and explaining this whole Tarkov situation that I would have had absolutely no idea about. So thank you so much. We do put out this show as an audio podcast. Yes, I know we're doing a bunch of shows. It will happen, I swear to God. But it's going to be on iTunes, iHeartRadio, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Audible, anywhere where you can get podcasts, it will be there. Just look up GameHounds Podcast. We are there. We are 100% Patreon funded. We only ask for $1 a month. That's 4 shows a month. That's 25 cents a show. And in those months where there's a 5th Sunday, that means even less. So feel free. I would love to have you do it. We appreciate it. To all of the absolute legend to our patrons, thank you so much. Thank you to Tor the Weege, Peter Camo, Eric Baker, Anonymous, Pissed, Andy H. You pay for the show so that we can keep going. And if it wasn't for you, there would be no us, as I always say. So thank you so much. If you would like to become a patron, $1 a month is all we ask. A little bit more is always appreciated. You can find us at patreon.com/GameHounds. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you next week, everyone. Bye-bye. That is the fastest I have ever done that. Okay, so I'm about to put my bread in the oven. No, that is not a euphemism for anything. By the way, AC Ray, thank you so much. Forgot to give you credit for that, for being awesome. And again, being our link bitch. We really appreciate it. But I'm going to go put my bread in the oven. I am going to give my dogs a piddle. That's also not a euphemism for anything. And then I am going to get onto Xbox and I am going to play Battlefield 2042 in co-op mode. Nick, would you like to join me?
Maybe.
All right. And Chunderbox, would you like to join me? Because I will be there and you will be able to find me on crossplay. He says, I still have an hour to go as I've missed the first hour bloody daylight savings. There goes my Monday morning sleeping in the future. I'm sorry. That's right. You guys don't have, you guys are reasonable. So Chunderbox, what you doing in October? You want to meet up in Bali? Because I'm going to be there October. I'm going to be there for 3 weeks. So, he sent me a friend request. Good. Excellent. I will pick that up and I will add you shortly. But yeah, anybody wants to meet me in Bali in October, I'm not paying your way, but October, get round trip for the United States through San Francisco for under $900, which is insanely cheap. So if you want to go, meet you there. Happy to do it. So yeah, everyone, appreciate you being here. We will be back not next. I said, I'll see you next week. I was wrong on the show. We're in dark next week. I am going to a dark sky festival to go stare at the stars and take pictures. Next week, our next show is going to be March 26th. So I am going to be probably hanging out in the Discord, depending on how much internet I've got. But I will be hanging out in the Discord as much as I possibly can over that weekend and certainly through the week. So if you want to get a hold of me, you know where to find me on the Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, please feel free to do so. We would love to have you there. There's the Discord channel. We're there. That's where I try to connect with any of you guys or ask any questions, or you can ask questions of me. All right, everyone. Have a good week. We will talk to you not the next one, 2 weeks from now. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.